Now, Rosie and Peter are having a date. Both of them are pathological liars. The waiter asks their ages. Peter says, "I'm definitely not over 30." Rosie replies, "I'm 28 and Peter is at least 5 years older than me." Peter adds, "Nah, Rosie is at least 29. Can you figure out their actual ages?" Since we know that all statements are false, let's assume the opposite. Peter is definitely over 30. Rosie is not 28, and she's at most 4 years older than Peter. And Rosie is at most 28. Now, from the first statement, we can conclude that Peter is at least 31 years old. The second and third statements tell us that Rosie is younger than 28. We also know that the maximum gap between their ages is 4 years. Therefore, Peter is 31 years old and Rosie is 27. Rosie arrives home from her date and makes herself a cup of hot chocolate. Suddenly, a soccer ball crashes through her window and breaks the mug. Rosie looks out the window just in time. She sees 3 neighbors running across the backyard, the Smith brothers. Their names are Miles, Mark, and Mike. The next morning, Rosie finds a note in her mailbox. It says this: "Which one of the Smith brothers should Rosie question?" The note reads, "Smith." Therefore, Rosie should blame Mark. Mark apologizes to Rosie. She replies, "I'm going to forgive you if you crack my riddle. So listen carefully. I came first on earth, but second in heaven. I also come twice a week, but just once in a year. I stay away for months, but you can find me in February. What am I?" Can you help Mark solve this puzzle? The correct answer is the letter E. And for extra credit, will Rosie the liar actually forgive Mark? Someone robbed Rosie's house yesterday. She called the police and they questioned her neighbors. Billy said, "Yesterday I was visiting my parents' house in another state. I just got back." Phil said, "For safety reasons, I had to spend last night in a hotel room. Construction workers urgently repaired my roof during the night. Thankfully, they finished by this morning." Meanwhile, Chuck replied, "Sorry, I was playing video games with my friends, so I didn't notice anything suspicious at all." Who is lying? Phil. The roof reconstruction should have been finished, but it still looks like a mess. Ooh. Rosie wants to win a college sports grant, so she trains very hard every day. Take a look at her rivals. Can you predict who's going to win this particular competition? The left runner will be the first to cross the finish line. The right guy's shoelaces came undone. Meanwhile, Rosie, who's running in the middle, put her hand on her stomach because she's struggling with a cramp. That's why her chances of winning are low. The next day, Rosie buys chocolates on the way to the gym. She can't eat them in front of the others because their coach, Tina, asks all runners to stay away from sugar products. So Rosie decides to hide the chocolates in her locker. During the break, she opens her locker and finds out that the chocolates are gone. She questions 4 teammates. Karen says, "I was washing my hair in the shower." Kelly replies, "I was talking to my boyfriend on FaceTime, and he can confirm that." Zoe discussed her skills with Tina during the break. And Nina enjoyed her sugar-free salad. Who's lying? It's Karen. Her hair is dry.
What?
Rosie is walking home from her training late at night. Suddenly, she sees a sad young lady sitting at a bus stop. The lady got wet in the rain, and the buses are no longer running. Rosie feels sorry for her and says, "My home is nearby. Would you like to have a cup of hot tea?" The lady agrees. As soon as they enter her home, Rosie turns the light on. That's when she realizes that her guest is very dangerous. How? The lady's legs are covered with wolf hair. Take a look at the sky. It's a full moon. She will soon turn into a werewolf. Rosie arrives at work, so we can assume she survived the night. Unfortunately, someone locks her in the underground parking. She wanders around for a while and finds 3 ways out, but only one path is safe. Hungry tigers are hiding behind the first door. It's impossible to get through. The second door is guided by a virtual voice assistant reprogrammed to hate people. It threatens to destroy anyone who enters this door. And the third passage is filled with toxic gas that makes all mammals pass out immediately. Which door should Rosie choose? The second one. Those threats are words. At the end of the day, it's just a voice assistant. Rosie discovers an infinite supply of honey, but she only has a 1 5-gallon jar and 1 3-gallon jar. She needs to measure out exactly 4 gallons of honey, taking as few steps as possible. Can you help her out? Yep, this can be done in 6 steps. 1. Fill the 5-gallon jar fully. 2. Now pour the honey from the 5-gallon jar into the 3-gallon jar. After that, you still have 2 gallons of honey in the bigger jar. 3. Now empty the 3-gallon jar. 4. Transfer the 2 gallons of honey into the 3-gallon jar. 5. Fill up the bigger jar again. 6. And finally, transfer 1 gallon from the 5-gallon jar into the smaller jar. This way, we'll end up having 4 gallons of honey in the bigger jar. Rosie goes to a local restaurant. The manager offers her free dinner. But first, she has to solve his tricky riddle. Rosie agrees. Here's the task. You throw me out when you want to use me. And you take me in when you don't want to use me. Who am I? Rosie nails it right away. Can you solve this mystery too? The correct answer is an anchor. Now, Rosie has 26 blue socks, 13 green socks, 33 pink socks, and 12 red socks. She keeps them in her drawer. How many socks would she have to pull out in the dark to make sure she had a matching pair? The correct answer is 5. She only has 4 colors in her collection, so 5 socks will guarantee that 2 of them will be in the same color. Hey, great job. Rosie has 4 siblings: Alex, Sarah, Nina, and Willow. All 5 receive some gifts from their relatives on Christmas Day. Rosie opens 25 gifts, while her brother Alex only 24. Meanwhile, Sarah opens 8 gifts, and Nina only 1 gift. Can you predict how many gifts Willow would open? The last name in Rosie's name is Y. It's the 25th letter of the alphabet. Alex's last letter X is in the 24th place. The last letter in the name Sarah is H. It's the 8th letter of the alphabet, and so on. Similar odd logic also works for Willow. The letter W is 23rd. Therefore, she will open 23 gifts. Now, if I were Sarah, I might complain about only getting 1/3 of the gifts her siblings get. But I'm not. Rosie is looking through her granny's pictures. Suddenly, she gets chills because she noticed a time traveler among these party guys. Can you spot this person too? This picture is from the 70s, but this guy on the left has a modern cell phone in his pocket. He's definitely not from this era. Rosie wants to get into her boyfriend's apartment building to prepare a surprise for his birthday. Unfortunately, she has forgotten the 5-digit code, but she still remembers these 5 clues. The sum of the 5th number and the 3rd number is 14. The 4th number is 1 more than the 2nd. The 1st number is 1 less than twice the 2nd number. The sum of the 2nd number and the 3rd number equal 10. And finally, the sum of all 5 numbers is 30. Can you help her crack the code? The correct code is 74658. Here's some simple math to explain it.
Dana is a swimming champion, preparing for her competitions on Monday. 24 hours before the big day, she disappears. Nobody can find her, and the police suspect 3 other swimmers. Hannah says she hasn't spoken to Dana since their last practice. Ashley explains that she invited Dana for lunch on Saturday, but the missing swimmer refused because she was getting her hair done for the competition. And Melanie says that she spoke to Dana the night before. Dana told her she was feeling anxious before the race. One of the swimmers is lying. Who is it? Ashley knows where Dana is. It doesn't make sense for a swimmer to have her hair done before a competition. Laura was walking home from work when she heard screams coming from a nearby house. She immediately rushed in to help. She followed the voice and it guided her to a basement. As soon as she walked in, the door slammed shut. 3 portals opened in front of her. Only one of them led to safety. The first portal was filled with giant venomous spiders. In the second portal, there was a huge suspended rock that was supposed to crash down the moment someone stepped in. In the third portal, 7 hungry crocodiles were waiting for their next victim. Can you help Laura choose the right portal? Laura should pick the second portal. She can throw her shoes inside, wait for the giant stone to fall to the ground, and make her way around it. Daniel is a sailor on a large cruise ship. One day, the captain asked him to go to the hold and get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. Sometime later, he discovered there was a hole in the side of the ship. More and more water was getting inside through this hole. How can Daniel get out? He can put on one of the life jackets that are in the room and wait for the water to fill the hold. This water will lift him and he'll be able to push the door open. Look at this man and 3 women attentively. Can you figure out which one of them is his real wife? It must be the girl on the left. Look, unlike the other 2 girls, she has nothing in her hands. At the same time, the man is holding a purse, which, if we're honest, doesn't match his style at all. Ben and his girlfriend Amelie went to explore a cave and got lost. After some time, they came across 2 people, a guy and a young woman. The man, bearded and rough-looking, had a shovel in his hands. I've been stuck here for a week. I know how to get to the surface, but I need your help. Come with me. The young woman exclaimed, "Don't trust him. He's a criminal."
Oh no.
"Follow me. I've been stuck here for way longer than him, but I think I know where the exit is." Who should Ben and Amelie believe? Ben and Amelie decided to follow the man. If the girl had been in the cave for so long, why did she look so tidy and have fresh flowers in her hair? Look at this image. Can you figure out who came from the past? It's this guy. Take a closer look at his chest. He's wearing a shirt frill. Those were popular in the 19th century. How about this picture? Who's from the past? I bet it's this young girl. Look at her weird hat. And now, will you be able to spot the time traveler? It's this lady. Have a look. She's wearing clogs. Nature photographer Lydia was out taking pictures of trees and flowers in the park. She stopped when she noticed some weird chemical smell in the air. She took photos of all 3 factories in the area. When Lydia looked at the images later, she immediately realized which factory emitted toxic gas. Can you figure it out too? It's not the first factory. It seems abandoned. The second one is surrounded by trees and flowers. It means the smoke coming out of its funnels is safe. It's the third factory that's the toxic one. The trees around it look dry and unhealthy, and the flowers have turned black. At the airport, a furious traveler claimed that the contents of his baggage had disappeared. When I got my suitcase, it was empty. I want compensation. After checking the passenger's info, an airport worker found out that he had indeed left London with a heavy suitcase. And now his bag was empty and a bit wet. But don't you think the whole situation is a bit suspicious? Can you figure out what probably happened here? The passenger left London with a suitcase full of ice. During the flight, the ice melted and the water leaked out, and the man demanded compensation for his lost belongings. Lauren cooked 10 buckets of chicken wings for a family gathering, 1 for each guest. But later, it turned out that Jimmy hadn't gotten his portion. Someone had taken 2 buckets. Is it Uncle Patrick? He looks suspicious. Or maybe it's Lauren's son, Justin. He's wearing this creepy, knowing smile. Or could Jimmy himself hide his chicken wings to get another portion? What do you think? Where are the wings? Look at the dog. It wouldn't leave Uncle Patrick's side. It can smell the meat the man has hidden. Damien was at work when he found out he'd won the lottery jackpot. He told his accountant he wanted to give half of this money to his best friend Logan. But random people started showing up in the office calling themselves Logan to deceive the accountant and get the money. Can you figure out who the real best friend is? It's the guy wearing a matching bracelet with Damien. Emily was standing on one side of the river, and Anna was on the other. Anna shouted to Emily to come and meet her, and Emily did that. There was no bridge across the river, but she crossed it anyway without even getting wet. How did she do it? The river was frozen. 3 people were stopped at the security check in an international airport. They were suspected of smuggling different stuff out of the country. The first man was heading to a beach resort. In his suitcase, there was a lot of stuff you could use at the seaside. An umbrella, a pair of sunglasses, sunscreen, and a beach towel. The second man had a cage with 3 colorful birds and a pet carrier with a family of hamsters. He had all the necessary papers. The third man was traveling for business. In his bag, he had a suit, some documents, a toothbrush, toothpaste, and a bottle of expensive shampoo. Who's the smuggler? It's the third guy. He's bald. Why would he need this shampoo? 5 men were fishing in a boat not far from the shore. A big wave turned the boat over and all the men fell into the water. And still, not a single man got wet. How come? All the men were happily married. Stephen was driving to work when he realized he had left a folder with important documents at home. It was about 9 a.m. when he entered his house and saw a man leaving through the back door and running to a red car. Stephen called the police and told them about what had happened. Police officers didn't waste time and went to look for the criminal. After searching for 10 minutes, they spotted a similar-looking car near a cafe. When they entered the place, there was only one customer there. One of the police officers came up to him. "Is it your car? Where were you 20 minutes ago?" The customer answered, "Yeah, the car's mine, but I've been sitting here for more than an hour." The police officer immediately arrested him. Can you figure out why? The police officer noticed that the cafe only opened at 9 a.m. The guy couldn't have spent an hour there.
Monica decided to go on a solo vacation to Brazil. She was strolling along a deserted beach when some magical sea creature caught her by surprise. It took her to a cave at the bottom of the ocean, took all her stuff, and left her there. To escape, she had to go through one of 3 tunnels. The first tunnel had sharks swimming all over it. The second tunnel had poisonous underwater snakes. And the third tunnel had a pirate shipwreck. Which tunnel should she choose to go through? She should pick the third tunnel. Sure, it's a pirate ship, but it's already sunk and it won't pose any real threats. Anna decided to throw a costume party and invited all her friends. 2 couples decided to dress up as vampires, but one of these couples is made of real vampires. Take a look at the image. Can you tell me which one? It's the second couple. They are vampires. They don't have any reflection in the mirror, do they? On a murky water day, Jason woke up confused. He had bumped his head into a coral reef and woke up in another underwater kingdom. 3 mermaids took him in and helped him get better. When he finally opened his eyes and asked who they were, they all said they were his wife. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which mermaid is telling the truth? If you look closely, the third mermaid to the right is wearing a shellfish ring similar to the one that Jason is wearing. This must mean she's his real wife, and the other 2 mermaids were lying. In the Wizardry School of Ninth, students are getting ready for a philosophy test. They're pretty good at doing magic, but they haven't developed their theoretical skills too much. The teacher, Mrs. Woodland, prepared a relatively easy first question for them. It asked, "What is the phrase that makes you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy?" The correct answer is, "It will be over soon." Yikes! On the same day of that test, Mandeline had a potion test. She was extremely nervous since she could never get the very difficult spells correctly. She got to the classroom and the teacher had left a few potion bottles for her to label. Take a look at the bottles and the tags. Can you tell which bottle is which? Our first clue lies in the bottles themselves. The first bottle is for the freezing potion. It freezes anything it gets into contact with. The second bottle carries a potion for making people stronger. The third bottle makes people feel sick. Ew! The fourth bottle is the one for finding eternal love. And the last bottle with the frog is for turning frogs into princes. I quite like these potions. On Amy's graduation day, her mother introduced her to a few eligible bachelors. She really wanted her daughter to find a new love, since she had recently broken up with her college sweetheart. She talked with the guys who all said they were training to be airplane pilots, but she figured out one of them was lying. How could she tell? Take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, which means he can't be a pilot. Pilots need to have perfect eyesight. James, a father of 4, went to work, leaving a $50 bill on the kitchen table for his oldest daughter, Quinn, to go shopping. When he got home, there was no food. Quinn said she hadn't been able to go shopping because he hadn't left any money. James asked his other 3 kids to come down and question them. Beverly said she saw the money on the table but didn't touch it. Kenneth said she opened the window and put the money under the book so it wouldn't fly away. Owen said he'd put the bill inside the book between pages 57 and 58. Can you tell who's lying? Owen is lying. He couldn't put the money between pages 57 and 58 because they're the 2 sides of the same page. Cindy was playing with her time machine when she opened a portal to another dimension. The portal took her to a sorcerer's house in the middle of nowhere. The sorcerer was so powerful that she closed Cindy's portal and Cindy was stuck there. The sorcerer proposed that they play a game. She said she had 2 cards in her hand, one that said free and another that said stay. Cindy could pick only one card. If she got the one with free written on it, she'd go back home. But if she picked the one with the word stay, she'd stay forever. But the sorcerer was such a trickster that she changed both cards to stay. Even so, Cindy managed to be freed by the sorcerer, beating her at her own game. How did she do it? Cindy anticipated what the sorcerer would do, so as soon as she picked the first card, she threw it in the fire, saying it was by mistake. That way, the sorcerer would have to show her the remaining card was stay, which meant that the one she had burnt had to be the card with free written on it. Way to go, Cindy! After Colton was shipwrecked, he found himself on a deserted island. Luckily, he still had his pills with him. There are 2 blue pills and 2 red ones. He needs to take 1 red pill and 1 blue pill, but his eyesight was severely compromised after the wreck, so he can't tell them both apart. There's nobody around to help him. How can he manage it? Colton should break each of the 4 pills into half and eat 4 halves of each. This way, he'll take exactly 1 red and 1 blue. Last week, Sophia attended the town's much-anticipated masquerade ball. She chose to show off her mother's vintage diamond necklace. But during the event, she noticed her necklace was gone. She called a private investigator immediately and asked him to bring her diamond necklace back, whatever it cost her. Very quickly, the investigator gathered 3 suspects. Kate, the one with the blue mask, says she spent most of the evening in the garden. Bianca, wearing the green mask, insists she was in the bathroom when the theft occurred. Jake, with the silver mask, says that he only noticed Sophia's necklace was missing after he came back from the bar. The investigator immediately knew who was lying and recovered the diamond necklace. Can you figure it out too? How did Jake know the exact moment the necklace went missing? It must have been him. Plus, take a look at his pocket. It looks like there's some triangular-shaped object in there, doesn't it? Luke was an adventurer, and on his latest trip, he went to Vietnam. There, he came across an ancient treasure map. The map led him to a remote island where a legendary treasure was said to be hidden. But the treasure's location was protected by a series of cryptic symbols. He needed to find it to unlock the treasure. Take a look at the encoded message that appeared and help Luke figure out a pattern that will take him to the treasure. The message said, "Carrot, sun, astronaut, filled you room." This wasn't so tricky, huh? The key to answering this one is noticing the pattern. The letters in capitals are the ones that make up the password. So, the correct password is Ray. The other words are just there to confuse you. Way to go, Luke! One of these girls has a pet at home. Can you tell me which one? It's the one in the middle. She's got scratches all over her arm. Serena is a private investigator. This year, she decided to spend her vacation at a fancy ski resort. Serena arrives at the main gates and takes a look at the entrance. Then, she turns around to tip her taxi driver. After that, she returns to the gates and spots 3 changes. Can you also see them? Here they are. Serena enters the hotel. 3 porters offer to carry her bags, but one of them cannot help Serena with her luggage. Can you guess who and why? The guy in the middle has transparent hands that go through the walls. He's a ghost, so it's unlikely he'll be able to carry Serena's physical baggage. Serena approaches the reception desk. She's checking in along with 3 other people.
Hello.
Serena takes a look at her passports and immediately spots the fake one. What about you? The second guy's picture is black and white, but it's not a crime. The third lady's document also looks fine, but the picture of the first lady has snow-capped mountains in the background. No matter what country she's from, the background in the passport photo should be plain, so this ID is fake.
Yeah.
Finally, Serena receives a key card for her room. She goes there right away, but unfortunately, the door doesn't open. Serena returns to the reception to complain. She sees another lady complaining about the very same thing. Can you guess what's going on here? Remember the room number on Serena's key? It's 981. If we turn this number upside down, we'll get 186. The manager confused these 2 keys. The ladies should simply exchange the keys, and the incident will be over.
Okay.
Finally, Serena enters her fancy suite. She takes a couple of pictures to send them to her friend. Can you find 10 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here are all 10 differences. Serena unpacks her bags to go skiing. Oh no, she forgot her hat at home. Serena goes to the local winter sports store to purchase a new hat. Which items don't belong here? This toy robot, high heel sandals, and a plastic pyramid shouldn't be here. After shopping, Serena decides to visit the local bakery. Can you spot any extra items here? This can of pet food and a dog bowl doesn't belong here, as well as this cat tree. Finally, Serena is in her ski suit. She's riding in a cable car to the top of the mountain with other resort guests. Can you spot the one who hasn't paid for the lift? I bet this little mouse didn't pay for the ride. The fire alarm wakes Serena up in the middle of the night. One of the cottages on the territory of the ski resort caught fire.
Oh no.
Luckily, all the guests and staff members are safe. Serena finds 3 suspects. One of these people started the fire for sure. Can you guess who? It's the guy in the bathrobe. He's hiding a bottle of fire starter liquid in his pocket.
Oh my god.
In the morning, Serena goes to the breakfast buffet. There are 4 croissants on the tray. One of them is made of plastic.
Oh.
Can you spot which one? Someone has bitten off the first croissant, so it's probably real. The third croissant was a little burnt, so it's real dough. Take a closer look at the 4th croissant. Some chocolate leaked out of it onto the plate, so it must be real too. Therefore, only the second croissant can be plastic.
Oh.
Serena starts her breakfast. A young lady named Maya is eating with her husband, not far from Serena's table. Suddenly, Maya gets sick and faints.
Oh my God.
Her husband calls doctors and they arrive immediately. They conclude that Maya has eaten something poisonous. The husband says, "It's impossible. My wife didn't eat or drink anything today except for the breakfast on this table. I ate it too, and I feel fine." The doctors test the food, and surprisingly, it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
Serena has already cracked this mystery. What about you? The poison was in Maya's lip balm. Serena suspects that Maya's husband poisoned her, so she decides to follow him to find some evidence. He enters his hotel room for a moment and then leaves. Serena sneaks into the room. She finds nothing suspicious except a hotel notebook. Someone tore out exactly one page from it. Fortunately, the writer pressed the pen very hard and left traces on the next page. Serena shades the paper with a pencil and reveals the following text. Can you help her decode this message? If we read this text backwards, we'll get Maya is in the hospital. Finish the job.
Oh my God.
Serena rushes to the hospital to get ahead of the criminal. She enters Maya's room and faces 4 clowns. One of them is the criminal, and the rest are just actors who perform all over the hospital to uplift the patients. Can you spot the imposter? The guy with the red bow is the criminal. He sneaked it from the decorations in this room because he was rushing to disguise himself.
Oh.
Serena calls the hospital guards to arrest the imposter, but he pushes everyone away and escapes through the back door. Serena follows him and ends up in the parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these cars.
Come to me.
Can you find him? These 3 single cars seem empty and they don't have any signs of break-in. Meanwhile, someone is moving in the back of this pickup truck. Busted! The police arrest the criminal and Maya's husband. Meanwhile, Serena returns to the hotel late at night to get some rest. Oh no! Her room is a mess! Someone clearly rummaged through her things.
What's this?
In the morning, Serena questions 3 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "Yesterday afternoon, I changed your bed sheets, washed coffee stains off the carpet, and left." The manager says, "I sent a repairman to fix the sink in your bathroom, but I myself didn't enter." The repairman says, "Last night I visited your room to fix the sink. Your stuff was all over the place, but I just thought you were a messy person." Who's lying? The cleaning lady. She said she had removed the coffee stains from the carpet, but they're still here. Serena lands on a chair in the hotel lounge to sign a stack of postcards for her friends. Suddenly, she smells hot chocolate from the cafeteria. She goes there to order a cup for herself. In a couple of minutes, Serena returns to her chair. Oh no! The postcards are gone. She questions 3 people nearby. Mike says, "I was reading a book all the time, so I didn't look around." Richard says, "I was taking pictures of my girlfriend Stella. You can take a look if you don't believe me." And Stella says, "Richard is telling the truth. I was posing for the camera. Why would I pay attention to your stuff?" After hearing their stories, Serena knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Richard's pictures. Stella is in front of a fireplace. If we zoom in, we'll see the postcards in the fire. These liars use them to make the flame burn brighter and look better in the pictures.
What?
Richard apologizes and buys a new stack of postcards for Serena. She grabs one of them and writes the following rebus on it. Can you crack the meaning of this message? To infinity and beyond. Serena is having small talk with Mike. She asks about his hobbies. Instead of answering, Mike draws the following rebus. Can you crack it? He likes to swim underwater. Serena says, I see you like puzzles. Crack my riddle and I'll get you a huge cup of hot chocolate. Mike agrees. Here's the riddle. The task is to replace the question mark with the correct letter. The letters imply the last letter of the sum of these numbers. 3 times 6 is 18, so the answer is N. 3 times 7 is 21, so the answer is E. And so on. 3 times 0 is 0. That's why we should replace the question mark with 0.
Alan is a famous scientist. He invented a special potion that awakens superpowers in humans. One night, he was having a secret Zoom conference with his colleagues. Alan's assistant, Betty, entered the office and brought him some coffee. In a while, Alan said goodbye to his colleagues and fired Betty. Why? She poured poison into his mug. Alan saw her reactions because the front camera on his laptop was working. Later that day, Alan went to the basement where he kept his secret invention. Unfortunately, someone broke into his safe and stole the potion. Alan interrogated 3 of his co-workers in the building. Will said, "Sorry bro, I've spent the last 24 hours watching rats for my research." Peter said, "I didn't even know they had a basement. You're full of surprises, man." And Diana said, "I think we heard weird noises from your office 2 hours ago." Who stole the potion? Peter. Take a look at his legs. He's levitating. When Peter was exposed, he took off into the sky and escaped. Alan headed to the parking lot, but someone had stolen his car. He called the police and found it across the street. The thief hit a tree and escaped. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Lily said, "I'm a courier. I came here to deliver food for the lab workers." Nina said, "I'm from a cleaning company. I'm here to clean, not steal cars." Bob said, "I parked my car to get some coffee. I didn't see any crimes." Can you guess who stole the car? Nina. Look at her watch. It's broken. And the black glass fragments are still in the car. Alan came home. Someone broke into his house and stole a laptop with secret information. Alan interrogated 3 of his neighbors. Rosie said, "You might think I'm crazy, but I saw a flying man outside your house." Nick said, "I spent all day in the garden picking apples. I didn't see anything suspicious." And Zoe said, "I was at a shopping mall with a friend and just arrived." Who lied? Zoe said that she had been shopping but didn't carry any bags. Suspicious, but possible. Meanwhile, Nick said that he'd been picking apples, but all the apples in the garden are still on the trees. So the liar is Nick. Alan went to the airport to take a flight to Argentina. He wanted to consult with his colleagues about Peter, but there were a lot of people who wanted to fly away too. Online booking stopped working, so there was a long queue. Alan is the 20th from the bottom in a line of 100 passengers. What's his position at the top of the queue? The position of passengers standing higher in the queue is 100 minus 20 equals 80. Therefore, Alan's position from the top is 80 plus 1 equals 81. After purchasing a ticket, Alan headed to the public toilet. A woman stopped him at the entrance and said, "Sir, can you please tell my husband to hurry up? His boss is calling him and it's urgent." Alan agreed, went into the toilet and looked at the stalls. He found the woman's husband right away just by looking at his feet. What about you? The guy on the left is her husband. They have similar tattoos. Finally, Alan got on a plane and flew from New York to Argentina. It took him 10.5 hours to reach the final destination. After spending 3 days in Argentina, Alan flew back home. However, it took 630 minutes this time, even though the plane flew at the same speed. Can you guess why? Ten and a half hours are the same as 630 minutes. After getting home, Alan noticed Peter running away through the backyard. Alan followed him, but Peter was too fast. Suddenly, Alan saw his motorbike in the parking lot. He questioned 4 people standing nearby. "Hey guys, whose motorbike is this? I need to borrow it." But all 4 people replied, "It's mine." Alan took a closer look at the vehicle and quickly figured out the owner. What about you? The third guy is the owner. He's the only person who's not wearing or holding a helmet. His helmet is attached to the bike. Alan hit the road. He wanted to get to his lab to make an antidote for Peter as soon as possible. There are 4 possible ways to get there. Can you guess which way is the shortest? The 4th one. The trick to solving this maze quickly is to start drawing from the end. Someone filled Alan's lab with sleeping gas. He passed out and woke up in a creepy basement. Alan found 4 doors leading outside. He has only 1 chance to escape. He won't be able to use the doors again. Behind the first door, there's a water-filled room swarming with sharks. The second door leads to the room filled with a spider's web. The third door hides a space where scorpions are falling from the ceiling. And the 4th door is hiding hungry lions. Which door is more or less safe to enter? Alan should choose the second door. Although crawling through spiderwebs might be gross, he'll be okay. Alan arrived at Peter's house. Peter lives with 2 roommates, his friend Sam and his brother George. Can you guess which one of these bedrooms belongs to Peter? George is the only one who's holding a laptop in his hands. Therefore, his bedroom is the first room that doesn't have a laptop. See this pillow with red hair in the 3rd room? It looks just like Sam's hair color, so it's probably his bedroom. Therefore, Peter lives in the 2nd room. Peter apologized to Alan for stealing his invention and asked him not to call the police. Alan offered Peter to play a game. He gave Peter 100 pills, 50 red and 50 blue, and 2 empty boxes. Alan said, "I will leave the room for a while, and I'll need you to place all the pills in 2 boxes. When I come back, I'll draw a pill from any of the 2 boxes, and if the pill's blue, I'll forgive you. Keep in mind that no box can be empty, and you gotta place all 100 pills in one of the 2 boxes. Good luck." How can Peter raise his chances of winning? He should put 1 blue pill in 1 box and the other 99 pills in the 2nd box. This way, the chances are 50-50. The next day, Alan decided to explore an abandoned hospital. 1 week ago, the locals reported some strange sounds coming from this house, and some people saw a ghost wearing a wedding dress. As soon as he entered the building, he heard screams from the attic. Alan walked upstairs and found a wedding dress in a closet nearby. The music speaker replayed creepy sounds over and over again. Alan found 3 neighbors and asked them one similar question. "What did you do 1 week ago?" Chuck said, "I was on a business trip in London for a month. I came back today." Sarah said, "This dress is not mine. I got married in a red one. It suits me much more." And Wendy said, "I'm a doctor. I had many duties in the hospital that day." Who's lying? Sarah. Alan didn't mention the dress, but she started making excuses anyway. Peter was fond of collecting rare coins. When he was 20 years old, he bought a special box to collect his coins. On his every birthday, he put 250 coins in the box. Meanwhile, his sister, who was also fond of collecting coins, took out 50 coins from Peter's box on her birthday. Peter was very surprised at his 60th anniversary when he opened his box. There were only 500 coins inside. How can this be possible? Peter was born on February 29th. Thus, he put 250 coins every 4 years. In 40 years, he put the coins in only 10 times, making a total of 2,500 coins. His sister was born on any other day, and she took out 50 coins from the box 40 times, which means she took out 2,000 items. Therefore, after 40 years, Peter's box only had 500 coins.
You're a special agent, racing at high speed in an expensive car along a 4-lane highway. You're breaking all the road rules because you need to get home before it's too late. You're running a red light, the police are chasing you, and you speed up. Finally, you arrive at your street and see that your house is on fire. You run inside. All you see is flames. There are 2 doors. One of them leads to a safe with secret documents of great importance. A suitcase with millions of dollars is behind the second door. You have very little time to choose what you save. You take the suitcase with the money. Modern safes are fireproof. The secret documents will be safe. You run out of the house and wait for the fire to burn out. A police car pulls up. At first, they want to arrest you for dangerous driving, but they don't. Why? Because you're a special agent, remember? Now you're heading to your office. It's inside a secret base outside of the city. You meet your boss and she tells you she's going to fire you because you failed your most recent mission. But since you've always had a good relationship, your boss lets you choose any official way of dismissal. It can be your own desire, damage to the company image, or anything else. What will you choose to stay in the company as long as possible? Tell them you want to be dismissed when you've reached the age of retirement. But in the evening, sitting at home, you realize that you're actually tired of working as a special agent. So you decide to choose another, quieter job. You've always liked wood carving. You go online and see that there are only 2 furniture factories in the city. You come for an interview to the first company. You see that the furniture looks very bad, and the boss seems unhappy. The next day, you go to another office. It has beautiful furniture and a kind boss. Now you have to choose which factory you want to work for. Think about it carefully. Of course, you should opt for the second company. There's beautiful furniture and a good boss. Did you think this was a trick question? You go home after the interview and decide to visit a flower store to buy a houseplant. You walk around the town and see 2 buildings. The first one looks beautiful and stylish. Its walls are painted with beautiful flowers. A neon sign is hanging over the entrance. But there are no windows. The second building is old. The paint on the door is peeling. Some windows are broken. Where will you go to buy flowers? You choose the old building. Sunlight gets there through the windows, and this is necessary for plants to grow. You go inside the building and see 3 doors. The first door has a werewolf painted on it. A photo of a vampire is on the second door. A man with a chainsaw is painted on the third door. Which room will you choose? Only one of the 3 is a real danger. There can't be a werewolf since it's not a full moon yet. The vampire is afraid of sunlight, and all the windows in the building are wide open. These 2 rooms are safe. You buy a houseplant and leave. You go to the town square and see 7 people. They seem to be regular passers-by, but you feel there are several suspicious people among them. Find them all. That guy over there is reading a newspaper, but it's turned upside down. It means he's secretly watching you. This girl is holding a radio transmitter with an antenna behind her back. And this old lady in sunglasses seems to be feeding pigeons, but her glasses are flashing with red light. There's a hidden video camera there. You throw the plant to the ground, run away from this place, and hide in an alley. On the wall of a brick building, you see several posters with different girls. A girl named Erica lives in America. Tina seems to be in Argentina. But where's Olivia? The correct answer is Bolivia. You get on a bus and go to your secret house. No one knows about it. You get off at your bus stop and climb the hill. There are 3 bridges across the river. People are standing at the other side of each bridge. One of these people wants to catch you, but who? It's that guy. You've seen him before. He's the one who is reading the newspaper. You cross the bridge over the river and finally arrive at your home. It's a huge round-shaped building. There are round rooms inside. You go to the living room and find a broken mirror. Your maid, gardener, and cook were supposed to visit your house today. The cook says he hasn't been to the house at all today. The gardener's been cutting flowers outside. And the maid said she's been sweeping the corners in all rooms of the top floor and hasn't broken the mirror. Who will you believe? The maid said she had been sweeping the corners, but the house is round. There are no corners here. But come on. The woman meant it as a figure of speech. She was really cleaning up. But do you see this pot in the kitchen? Light steam is coming out of it. This means the cook has actually been to the house today. He lied, which can only mean he broke the mirror. You forgive the cook and decide to walk around the house. You go to the kitchen and think, it's a good kitchen. Then you go to the cellar. This is a good cellar. You go to a good living room, then visit a good bathroom. In the end, you enter a room that is not so good. What room is this? It's your bedroom. You leave the house and get into a new fast car. You're driving along an empty road at low speed and notice there's no brake pedal in the car. The road ends at the edge of a cliff. You can jump out of the car, but you don't want to abandon it. Luckily, you still have some time to think. How can you slow down? You're still moving because your foot is on the gas pedal. Just release the pedal. The car will slow down and stop. You leave the car and feel hungry. You come to the restaurant where they serve buffet meals. You approach the table with strawberries, raspberries, bananas, and apples. Some of these fruits are not fresh. Which? All of the fruit trays are almost empty, but there are a lot of strawberries left. People don't take them, so they're probably not very fresh. After eating, you go for a walk to the beach. You notice 2 strangers behind. They're following you, so you start walking faster. Finally, you manage to hide behind a big old boat, but the pursuers still find you. How did they do it?
You've left footsteps in the sand. You decide to hide in a big old building. You put on a pair of glasses equipped with a thermal imager and walk through the ruins. Suddenly, you hear strange sounds. You turn on the flashlight and illuminate a small hall. 3 zombies are heading towards you. You're about to run away, but then you realize they're not real zombies. How did you understand it? You have the thermal imager. It shows that the zombies' bodies are warm, which means they're regular people. Zombies don't produce heat. You leave the old building and see 3 paths in front of you. The first way leads into a swamp. The second path is covered with hot coals. The third path is swarming with venomous scorpions. Which one will you opt for? You wear sturdy shoes. Running on the coals won't hurt you. After all these weird events, you return home and go to bed. Mike has recently left his job. He's looking for a new, more exciting one. But so far, all his attempts have brought 0 results. Can you tell how many job interviews he has failed by looking at his apartment? Take a look at this schedule on the wall. In the previous month, Mike marked all working days with green color, and the weekends were red. At that time, he most likely still had his job. And the current month has 6 stickers with the letter I. Mike has most likely attended 6 interviews. Mike was losing hope when he found a weird letter in his mailbox. An elegant little note said, "If you manage to figure out our phone number, call us. We'll offer you a dream job." Can you help Mike see the number? It's 713819. Mike called this number. A mysterious voice asked him to solve a riddle. I make 2 people out of 1. What am I? In a minute, Mike received an official invitation to his dream job interview. What did he answer? A mirror. When Mike arrived at the meeting location, he found a large, gloomy building in the middle of nowhere. The door slammed shut behind the guy's back as soon as he got inside. Mike found himself in a hallway with 3 doors. He noticed a boat, an insect spray, and an astronaut suit on the floor. The same mysterious voice said, "You can choose only 1 tool and 1 door. Good luck." There are venomous spiders behind the first door. A hungry lion is waiting behind the second door. And finally, there's a swamp emitting toxic fumes behind the third door. What should Mike choose to pass this test and stay alive? He should pick the astronaut suit and the first door. Spiders won't be able to bite through the suit. In the next room, the voice offered Mike to have a coffee break, but the guy had to choose wisely because only 1 type of snack was safe to eat. Can you help Mike pick the right food? There are human nails in the cupcakes and cockroaches in these chips. The color of the meat in this burger is very suspicious. This sushi set looks rather edible, but its smell attracts too many flies. Mike should choose these donuts. They look fresh and appetizing. The cafeteria was filled with people. The voice told Mike to find a thief among them. Can you help Mike get some bonuses for his attentiveness? This woman over there is the thief. She's hiding spoons in her pocket. After lunch, Mike headed for the next room, but before the guy got inside, he had to solve a riddle to open the door. Some will use me, others will not. Some remember me, others forget. I can't be picked up off the ground or tossed into the sea. You can only gain me with time. What am I? The correct answer is knowledge. Mike entered a beautiful party hall filled with people in costumes and masks. The voice told Mike to go find one ghost, one zombie, and one thief among these people. Look at this crowd very attentively. Can you see them? The guy over there doesn't seem to have legs, and he's levitating. He must be a ghost. Look at this woman's food. Only zombies would eat that. And the woman over there is the thief. Her diamond ring doesn't fit her finger. Also, the ring is very similar to this lady's jewelry set. Mike tried to open the next door and receive a new question immediately. I look flat, but I'm deep. Hidden realms I shelter. Lives I take, but food I offer. At times I am beautiful. I can be calm, angry, and turbulent. I have no heart, but I offer pleasure and freedom. No man can own me, yet I encompass what all men must have. What am I? Mike solved this riddle and entered the next room. Have you figured out the answer too? The correct answer is, I'm the ocean. Mike saw the next door, but whatever he did, he couldn't open it. He spotted an electronic lock on the door and a map of a maze on the wall. The voice said that Mike must solve the riddle to open the door. Can you help? If you go through the maze from start to finish, you'll get 6251. This is the code. When Mike finally entered the room, he saw a locked safe. The voice said that Mike's task was to open the safe. What buttons should he press? The puzzles present three colors: pink, white, and brown. Mike pressed the correct buttons and unlocked the safe, but he only found one small coin inside. The next room was empty, except for an old vending machine in the corner. Mike came closer and noticed a small key inside the machine. Suddenly, the walls began to move. The room was getting smaller and smaller. The voice told Mike to be careful because the vending machine was broken. Some wires were torn and mixed up. Which button should Mike press to get the key out and get out of the room before it's too late? Mike should use the coin from the previous challenge and press the fourth button. Then the voice asked Mike to find the odd image in this pattern. Can you help the guy? The couple over there is different. In another room, Mike met a nice elderly lady, Miss Jason. She was very upset because someone had broken into her apartment. Mike's task was to find the robber. He inspected the crime scene and questioned 3 witnesses. The cleaning lady, Sarah, said that she'd finished her work at 11 p.m. and left. Billy, a passerby, said that he'd seen a suspicious man in a mask in Miss Jason's window. Kelly, the neighbor, was visiting her boyfriend in another city. Who's lying? Billy. He's a passerby and just met Miss Jason. Then how come he knows which window is hers? It got very dark outside, but Mike's weird quest continued. He entered a jewelry store and its owner explained the guy his next task. Someone had broken into the store and taken the most expensive diamond jewelry. But luckily, the robber left their fingerprints on the shards of broken glass. There are 3 suspects: a werewolf, an elf, and a zombie. Can you help Mike find the real robber? It was the elf. He's the only creature among them with human-like fingerprints. Another door led Mike into a creepy lab. There, he saw a mad scientist playing a strange game with his patients. He asked them to choose between 2 pills. One of them was a harmless capsule with vitamins, while the other one was a sleeping pill. Somehow, the scientist managed to get the harmless pill every time he played this game, and his opponents always fell asleep. How was this possible? And what should Mike do to pass this test? Both pills were actually harmless. The scientist added a special substance to the glasses of water he offered his patients to wash down the pills. So, to stay awake, Mike should switch the glasses or simply refuse to drink any water. The next door was locked, but Mike saw 6 buttons with the images of a candle, fire, gloves, scissors, an apple, and a light bulb. The voice said, "I was carried into a dark room and set on fire. I wept, and then my head was cut off. What am I?" 1 minute later, Mike was already walking towards his next challenge. What button did he press to open the door? The button with the candle on it. Suddenly the lights went out. Mike slipped and fell into a swimming pool. Someone turned the light on again and Mike saw 3 identical ladies in the pool. All 3 of them looked like ordinary women and claimed to be human. But in reality, 2 of them are mermaids. How can Mike find the real woman among them? He can dive and find the one without a tail. The mermaids told Mike that they wouldn't let him out of the pool until he solved another riddle. "I'm so fast you can't see me, although everyone else can see straight through me. I'm with you until your last breath. What am I?" Can you help Mike solve this riddle and escape? The correct answer is the blink of an eye. The mermaids let Mike go, and he entered the next room. On a huge screen, there were 2 guys. The first one was taking a selfie with a tornado. The second one was standing under an umbrella in the middle of a thunderstorm and taking pictures. Mike had to decide whose behavior is riskier. The tornado is very close. Therefore, the first guy is in greater danger. At the same time, the second guy will have enough time for another couple of shots. In the next room, Mike saw 5 zombies behind bars. All those guys were suspected of stealing a car. Mike had to decide which of them was the thief. Have you guessed? The guy on the left is sweating a lot, and zombies don't sweat and don't drive cars. He must be the thief. He's just wearing zombie makeup. Mike entered a kitchen. His task was to decide how many people lived in the house. Can you guess? Three people. There are 3 different drinks on the table and 3 chairs. Now look at this bathroom. How many people live in this apartment? Just 1. Take a look at this lonely toothbrush. And how many people live in this place? Two people. Look at the family portrait. Mike saw 3 musicians rehearsing for a performance in a garage. The voice announced his next task: to find 1 suspicious detail. Have you already spotted it? There's something wrong with this fire extinguisher. Finally, Mike found himself in an ordinary street. The voice said they had only one last question. What's the time? Mike had to choose between 3 options: 7 a.m., 3 p.m., or 11 a.m. Can you help Mike figure out the right time? The correct answer is 7 a.m. The streetlights are still on, but the sun is casting shadows from the east. Congratulations, Mike, you're hired.
Now, Anna had just graduated from college and was in the process of searching for a job. She was going to apply to a few companies, and she wanted her CV to be perfect to increase her chances. So she checked it once again before sending it. There were 3 mistakes in her CV, including typos. Can you help the girl spot them? Take a look at the year when she graduated from college. In her CV it says 2922, but that's not possible. So she must have typed 9 instead of 0 here. Now look at the education section. She wrote university instead of university. That's the second typo. And the last typo is in the skills section. That's right, the word skills itself is misspelled. A week later, Anna was invited to stage 2 of the application process in 3 different companies. The first one was a packaged food company called Pact Inc. The second one was a tech company called Data Corp. And the third one was a media company called Watch TV. But only one of them is Anna's dream job. Can you tell which of these companies it is? Take a look around her room. You'll notice that there's some merchandise from Data Corp. Anna has their sticker on her laptop, and there's a Data Corp mug on her table. But most importantly, do you see that post-it note on her mirror that says goals? Her number 1 goal is to get a job at Data Corp. If the first 2 hints didn't convince you, this certainly will do. The talent recruiter of Data Corp soon called Anna. She said the girl would pass stage 2 of the application process if she guessed her name correctly. But of course, I will give you a hint, she said. My name is 2 of 7 Chicago, 2 of 6 London, and 1 of 9 Edinburgh.
What?
Can you tell what the talent recruiter's name is? Two of 7 of the word Chicago gives you the letters C and H. 2 of 6 of the word London are the letters L and O. 1 of 9 of the word Edinburgh gives you the letter E. So, her name is Chloe. Chloe informed Anna that she had passed stage 2 and the company was inviting her to San Francisco for a face-to-face interview. That was stage 3 of the application process.
Oh my god.
The recruiter also said that the company was going to cover all of her expenses if she answered this next riddle correctly. There is a house. One enters it blind, one leaves it seeing. What is it? Do you know the answer? It's a school, and Anna answered correctly. On the day of the interview, Anna arrived at the airport too early. She was hungry, so she decided to eat something. There were only 3 restaurants open at the airport. The first one served only different kinds of salads. The second one sold various types of pizza and pasta. And the third place was a seafood restaurant. Which restaurant should she choose? Take a look at their displays. There are ants inside one of the salad bowls that are on display in the first restaurant. Pass. A few of the fish in the third restaurant's display look rotten. It's probably not a good idea to eat there. So, she should choose the pizza and pasta restaurant. Anna entered the place and ordered meatballs and spaghetti. As she was waiting, 3 friends who were eating at another table caught her eye. They all looked like very rich people. But Anna could tell that only one of them was so rich that she could literally buy anything she wanted. Can you tell how Anna figured that out? First, take a look at the menu board on the wall. All the prices are listed there. And now, look at what each girl is eating. The first one is munching on Neapolitan pizza. The price for this dish is listed as $25. The second girl is eating pineapple pizza, which costs $39.99. The third girl, though, is trying Pizza Royale, which is made with 24-karat gold topping. Look it up, it's a real thing. And its price is $4,000. That's a lot, even for an airport restaurant. So the third girl must be the richest one. It was time to board the plane. The company spared no expense to get Anna to San Francisco with comfort. So she was going to fly business class. As one of the flight attendants showed her to her seat, she told Anna that she was very lucky to be on this flight because there was a very famous actor on board, and he was sitting next to her.
Oh my god.
Can you tell which of these people is the actor? See that guy holding his cell phone? Take a closer look at the screen. He's on his social media sharing a selfie he took with that guy, who must be the famous actor. And now put that cell phone on airplane mode. Time to go. After the plane landed in San Francisco, Anna headed directly to the Data Corp's headquarters for her interview. She told the security guard that Chloe was expecting her for a job interview.
Hello.
After checking the guest list to confirm her words, the security guard gave her a name tag. "Here, take this. All guests have to wear it," he said. Then he gave her a card. "You need to go to the 7th floor to meet her. This card has the passcode to call the elevator. Good luck with everything." Just as Anna was going to thank him, he interrupted her and continued talking. "And keep this in mind, the elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way." Anna thought, okay, weird. What can that even mean? Then she walked up to the elevator. There were no down or up buttons, just a passcode panel. Then she looked at the card the security guard had given her and saw a picture of a funny face. There were 3 numbers hidden in that image, and they were the numbers she needed to press on the panel. Can you see them? There's a 7 here, a 3 is here, and here's number 1.
Okay.
But in what order should she press them? Can you help her? Remember the weird thing the security guard said? He actually gave Anna a hint. The elevator will help you ascend in an orderly way. Ascend, order. So, she needs to enter the numbers in ascending order from the lowest to the highest. It means that the passcode is 137. Ah, here comes the elevator. Anna pressed the button for the 7th floor, but the elevator stopped on the 2nd floor. 3 people were going to get in. Anna was excited to see some Data Corp employees, but one of them didn't actually work there. Can you tell who? Remember what the security guard said about all guests having to wear name tags? This lady has one too, so she is a guest and isn't working there. Anna got off at the 7th floor and was greeted by Chloe. The woman directed her toward the manager's office. Anna walked in. "Hello, Anna, I'm Edith," the manager said. "I'm the one who's going to interview you, since you are applying for the manager's assistant position. I saw your CV and I was impressed. You've been solving all the riddles correctly, too. I have one last riddle for you, and if you crack it, we'll hire you.
Oh my god.
I'm a bean, but I'm not magic. I can be roasted, but I'm not a turkey. I can be ground, but I'm not pepper. I can be pressed, but I'm not a button. What am I? Quick, help Anna get this job." The answer is coffee. And you're going to be bringing me a lot of it. Welcome to Data Corp, Anna, Edith said. Wow, that's one weird job interview.
Stacy has just moved to a new town to start a new life. Her real estate agent has offered her 4 houses for rent. Can you help Stacy find the perfect one? The first house has uneven floors. The second one is standing too close to a fast food restaurant. There might be too much noise and different unpleasant smells. The fourth house is haunted. Look at the portraits on the walls. They're moving. Also, there's a ghost reflected in the mirror. But the third house looks pretty cozy and safe. As soon as Stacy moved in, she received 3 welcome cakes from her neighbors. But there's only one edible cake among them. Can you help Stacy recognize it? There are not only berries but also a cockroach on top of the first pie.
Ew.
There's a human tooth hidden in the coconut flakes on the third cake. And the second cake looks good, even though its color is rather weird. Stacy invited her neighbors for dinner to get to know each other. She showed the guests her unique ruby that she had found in Thailand. Everyone had a lot of fun. But when the guests left, Stacy noticed that the ruby was gone. She called the police and showed them the pictures from the party. Who stole the ruby?
This guy. He hid the precious stone under his head. Stacy got an invitation to a barbecue party, but when she arrived at the location, something scared her very much. The house was full of rats. How many rats can you spot? The correct number is 13. Stacy heard some music and walked around the house. In the backyard, she saw a campfire party. Everyone roasted marshmallows and told horror stories. Stacy wanted to join, but she noticed one creepy detail and decided to go home instead. Why? This guy doesn't have a shadow. He's a vampire. The next morning, the vampire guy, whose name was Luke, came over to Stacy. He explained that their town was quite unusual. Most citizens were zombies, mermaids, vampires, elves, and werewolves. But all of them got along really well. Luke took Stacy for a walk to show her the town. She got hungry, and they went to the local restaurant. Can you help Stacy spot a zombie among these customers? This woman over there. Take a look at her food. There are worms in her noodles. After lunch, Luke confessed that he liked Stacy and invited her on a date. He was very attractive, so Stacy said, "Okay, but first, you gotta crack my riddle. The things I bite, they don't bleed. I don't bite until you push me. I bring something together every time I bite. But it comes undone again if you pull it just right. What am I?" Luke gave his answer and they went on a date. What did he say? I'm a stapler. Luke and Stacy went to see a movie and chose a scary one. They sat in the middle of the empty theater. After a while, Luke pointed at the screen. He was very scared. Stacy also noticed one creepy detail. What scared the couple so much? Since Luke is a vampire, there should be only one shadow on the screen, Stacy's. But look, there are two shadows. They're not alone. Next morning, Stacy went shopping. The local supermarkets offered plenty of weird stuff for zombies, werewolves, and other creatures. Can you help Stacy choose the right milk? We can see milk number 1 in this zombie's basket, so it's probably not good for humans. Milk number 2 is standing on the shelf with the inscription, "For elves only," so the best option for Stacy is milk number 3. In the parking lot, a thief stole Stacy's bag and escaped on a motorcycle. Stacy got into her car and drove after him, but she got stuck in a traffic jam. Finally, she reached a crossroads. She saw a traffic officer there. Stacy asked if he'd seen a biker in the past hour. The officer said, "I haven't seen any today." Look at the camera pics of 3 main roads. No one has driven down the first road for an hour. 2 mounted police officers have traveled down the second road. And only 1 blue truck has driven down the third road. Which way did the criminal go? He chose the third road. He hid inside the truck. The police in the town liked Stacy's way of thinking very much and offered her a job as a detective. She received her first task immediately. A dangerous criminal escaped from prison. Stacy had to catch him. The evidence led her to a farm. She saw a man working in the field. Detective Stacy asked him if he had seen any strangers around. The farmer said, "Sorry, I didn't focus on what was going on around." Stacy immediately guessed that he was the criminal. How? If he's a farmer, why has he ruined the crops? She tried to stop the man, but he escaped again. Stacy continued chasing the criminal. Suddenly, she saw a house and entered it. The owner was inside. Stacy asked him, "Has anyone visited you today?" He said, "No, neither have I left the house." Then Stacy asked, "Do you live with your family?" The man said he lived on his own. By that point, Stacy had already figured out that the guy was a liar. How did she guess? There are 2 cups of coffee on the table, and a wet umbrella is standing near the door. Stacy realized the guy was wasting her time on purpose to let the criminal escape. Suddenly, she received a message from her colleague. People had seen the criminal at the local shopping mall. He was hiding in the ladies' bathroom. Stacy knew exactly where he was hiding as soon as she got there. Can you see the criminal? He's over there. The guy managed to escape from Stacy through the window. He ran to a crowded street. Stacy followed him. Can you help her find the criminal? There he is. After a hard day, Stacy drove up to a gas station to fill up the tank. She paid for the gas, she left. Soon she noticed that a car was following her. She didn't know the driver, and she didn't recognize the car. So she tried to get away from him. She took sudden turns and accelerated, but it was useless. Finally, she reached the police station. Stacy was shocked to see that the man had followed her there. He wasn't a police officer, and everything was okay with her car. Why did he follow Stacy? The man saw a vampire hiding in the back of Stacy's car. Luckily, the vampire turned out to be Luke. He just wanted to surprise his girlfriend. He gave Stacy beautiful flowers and invited her over for dinner. His house looked gloomy, but chic. Stacy was very impressed and told Luke, "Your art collection is stunning." But Luke confessed, "In fact, there's only one really ancient portrait on this wall. Can you guess which one?" This guy is wearing a fitness tracker. There's a selfie ring in the background of the second portrait. It means that only the third portrait is really old. Stacy entered Luke's kitchen and began to scream. The room was full of huge, creepy spiders. How many spiders can you count? The correct answer is 16. Luke said, "No worries, they're my friends." He introduced Stacy to each of his 16 pets and showed her the way to the living room. After dinner, Luke took out a box, a gift for Stacy. He said, "I'll give you this precious piece of jewelry if you figure out my riddle. I'm tall and twisted, narrow and fast. I'm here for a moment, but my devastation lasts. What am I?" A minute later, Stacy became the owner of a beautiful pearl necklace. What did she say? A tornado. Luke and Stacy were dancing. Suddenly, they heard the sound of glass shattering from the kitchen. Someone broke the window and wrote, "You will regret it," on the wall. Stacy questioned 3 witnesses. A ghost named Eddie said he'd been taking a bath and hadn't heard any noise. Luke's ex-girlfriend Nora said she'd been at home knitting a sweater. Werewolf Fred said that he'd seen a strange shadow moving towards Luke's house. Who's lying? Eddie. If he's a ghost, why would he take a bath? The next day, Stacy came to the pier to have a boat ride with Luke, but she didn't see him. Only a group of suspicious people standing on the shore. She stopped and got out of her car. The people noticed her and ran in the opposite direction. She ran after them but couldn't catch up. She looked around and realized that those people were actually ghosts. How did she figure it out? When Stacy was chasing them, she was running on the sand, but now she can see only the footprints of her own shoes. Suddenly, someone pushed Stacy into the water. Down in the Sea Kingdom, Stacy met Neptune. He was sitting on his throne, surrounded by 3 mermaids. Neptune asked Stacy to return the pearl necklace to his wife. She had recently lost it, and Luke found the necklace on the shore. Can you guess which mermaid is Neptune's wife? The third one. She's the only one who's wearing an engagement ring. When Stacy gave the necklace to its rightful owner, Neptune snapped his fingers. His guards brought Luke. Neptune said, "I'll let you go home safely, but you have to choose the right door." There were demons behind the first door. They were ready to eat anyone who dared to come in. There was lava all over the floor of the room behind the second door. And finally, there was a laser beam that could cut through anything it touched behind the third door. Which door should Stacy and Luke choose? The third one. They can crawl under the beam without touching it.
Sarah accidentally pulled a lever in a science lab and set free a group of mutant zombies. The 4 humans left in the lab needed to escape before the zombies caught up. To do so, they needed to cross an old rope bridge hanging over a massive gorge.
According to the professor's calculations, the zombies would catch up with the lab team in 17 minutes. They needed to get everyone across the bridge before that. Sarah was the fastest one in the group. She could cross the bridge in 1 minute. The lab assistant, Dawn, could cross it in 2 minutes. But the janitor and the professor were way slower. The first needed 5 minutes, and the second needed 10 minutes to get to the other side. They also only had 1 lantern left. How could they arrive at the other side safely if the bridge could only hold 2 people at a time and each group needed to carry the lantern to illuminate the way? Here's how it works. Sarah and Dawn cross the bridge first, carrying the lantern. It takes them 2 minutes. Sarah, the quickest, runs back with the lantern. Then, the professor and the janitor cross the bridge together. It takes them 10 minutes. In total, it takes 13 minutes. Dawn grabs the lantern from them and dashes across the bridge to help Sarah get across. With 2 minutes left on the clock, Sarah and Dawn get safely to the other side, just in time to cut the rope and save their lives. Helena finally got herself a new guitar. She wanted to start playing it right away, but she had to go to school. She locked the instrument in her room and left. When she got home that evening, the guitar was gone. She knew it must have been one of her family members, as they were always playing pranks on each other. So she questioned each of them. Helena's mother said she hadn't even seen the guitar the girl had bought. Her dad said he'd seen it when he'd passed by Helena's room, but swore he hadn't done anything to it. Her brother said he hadn't gone upstairs the whole day, so he hadn't seen the guitar either. Helena solved the mystery right away. Can you figure it out? Her dad is lying. He said he'd seen the guitar when passing by her room, but that would be impossible. Helena locked the door on the way out. John, Carl, and Ben are sitting on a park bench. One of them arranged to meet his 2 sisters. He promised them he would take them on a stroll in the park. Can you tell which guy it is? It's Ben. Look at his wrist. He's wearing 2 bracelets, probably made by his younger sisters. Josh was walking in a forest at night and came across an old castle. He was curious, so he found a way to sneak in and started walking down a corridor. Pretty soon, he met 3 cloaked figures. When Josh asked them who they were, they said they were 2 werewolves and 1 vampire. The trio told Josh that he had made a bad choice coming inside the castle. They said they wouldn't leave him unless Josh outsmarted them. Josh had to guess who the vampire was. According to the rules, he was only allowed to ask each of them the same question, and the question couldn't be, "Are you a vampire?" After a few minutes of thinking, Josh asked, "What's your eye color?" He guessed who the vampire was and was allowed to leave the castle. Why did he ask that? And how did that question help him? Vampires don't reflect in mirrors, and they don't show up in photos. The vampire probably wouldn't know their eye color. One afternoon, 4 friends met up for coffee. Someone asked them how old they were, and they answered with a riddle. They said Mia was 3 times older than Anna, but 3 years ago, Anna was younger than Claudia is now, and Olivia is twice as old as Anna. So, can you put the girls in order according to their age? The correct order is Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Claudia. Mary's birthday was coming up, and she decided to treat herself to a relaxing day at the spa. During the massage, Mary dozed off. When she woke up, the money was missing from her purse. There were 3 suspects. The cashier, Erica, claimed that she'd been having lunch at the back. Catherine, the masseuse, said, "I went to the back of the store to get some extra oil." Monica, a customer, said she hadn't seen anything and had just been waiting for her turn. What do you say, Sherlock? Who did it? The culprit is Catherine, the masseuse. She must have waited for Mary to fall asleep and then took her things. Look at the stash of money hidden behind the oils. Susanna was walking down the street when she saw a small dog. It looked as if the dog had just run away, so she picked it up and started searching for its owner. She walked into an office building. There were 3 people there. Susanna knew immediately who the dog's owner was. How did she figure it out? Look at the guy in the middle. He's sitting on a dog's leash. You've just come back from a long trip. You had to get a new suitcase to store all the things you bought. But after arriving home, you realize you've forgotten the code you need to open the suitcase. Luckily, you left yourself a note on your cell phone that can help you decipher the code on the lock. 682. 1 digit is correct and in the right place. 614. 1 digit is correct, but in the wrong place. 206. 2 digits are correct, but in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. 1 digit is right, but in the wrong place. What's the 3-digit code? (042). One morning, Detective Smith arrived at the jail where 3 men had escaped from their cells. The prisoners could neither see nor talk to each other. But they managed to organize their escape together. They visited the same shower room, but only one person was allowed to come in at a time. How did they manage to communicate? They wrote messages to one another on the bathroom mirror, used the steam to read them, and planned their escape together. On a Sunday morning, 7 friends went to the mall. Esme, Evelyn, and Elise grabbed a cup of coffee each, while Ava, Ella, and Emma decided to drink some refreshing soda. Can you figure out if Esther chose to drink coffee or soda? Esther is drinking coffee. The secret to figuring out the answer is in the girls' names. Esme, Evelyn, Elise, and Esther all have 2-letter E's in their names. In the afternoon, 3 people visited Tessa's clothing store. These 3 people were the only customers she had that day. The first person bought a belt and a purse. The second person bought a dress. And the third customer got a hat. One of them was a criminal, and Tessa reported them to the police immediately. Who was the criminal, and how did Tessa know? The third person gave her a $1,000 bill, but such bills don't exist. At 11 a.m., Amy got a call from her boss, Tom. He was in distress because a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Amy immediately went there to question the employees. She soon had 3 suspects. Elijah said he had spent the previous evening in the movies. Mason took his girlfriend to dinner. And Evelyn visited an art gallery. It didn't take Amy long to understand who was lying. Can you figure it out?
It was Elijah. Take a close look at his ticket. It isn't torn, which means he didn't really go to the movies.
Jennifer had an epic quarrel with her best friend Alice and decided to go hiking without her. After a long walk, she chose a place to settle down for the night. The next morning, she got out of the tent and found out that all her food supplies were gone.
Oh.
Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who stole the food? Although there are hair footprints all over the ground, these animals are too small to untie and carry away such a large bag of food. Alice followed Jennifer to prank her, but she forgot her hairband at the crime scene. Can you find a 4-leaf clover in this pattern? Here it is. Peter got tired of big city life and moved to a quiet village. He opened a small coffee shop. His place gained popularity among local farmers and tourists very quickly. But one night, someone broke into the coffee shop and robbed it. Peter interrogated 4 suspects. Dylan said he'd been out of the city that night. Leia had been cleaning her room all night. Vanessa said she'd been rehearsing a dance for the upcoming New Year's performance, and Jason had been taking care of his cattle. Who's lying? Vanessa, look at these blooming flowers in the field. It's summertime. It's too early for New Year's rehearsals. Vicky got on a bus, but suddenly she ran out screaming, "There's a zombie in there!" Who is a zombie? It's the driver. Take a look at his arm. Fred is a fitness coach. He bought a pack of peanut butter cookies on the way to his office. He couldn't eat them inside the building since his boss, Mia, had a really bad peanut allergy. Plus, his current clients were on a sugar-free diet for a week. So, Fred took a couple of bites and hid the remaining cookies in his locker. When Fred opened the pack during the next break, it was empty. He questioned the clients. Chris said he'd been talking to his mother. Pam went out to get some fresh air. Jason helped Mia serve peanut butter sandwiches and coffee. And Kelly was busy eating her fruit salad. Who's lying? Jason. Mia has a peanut allergy. She wouldn't have come close to peanut butter sandwiches. Can you guess the word by these emojis? It's iPhone. What about this combination? It's airline. And what about these emojis? That's a coffee break. Let's try another one. It's bad luck. What about this combination? A starfish. What about these emojis? Cornbread. How about these 2 emojis? Right, that's sunlight. Let's try another one. Sunglasses. Can you find a snowman among these pandas? Here it is. Can you find a rabbit among all these cats? This little guy over here. Someone robbed a bank last night. Its manager doesn't want the clients to know about it, so he hasn't told any details to the press yet. The police have found 3 suspects. All of them have been previously accused of similar robberies. The police officer asked, "What were you doing when the robbery happened?" Stacy claimed she'd gone to bed at 11 p.m. Dan said, "I was bowling with my friends between 1 and 2 a.m. Ryan said he had spent the whole night in a hospital with his granny. Who robbed the bank? It was Dan.
The police officer didn't mention when exactly the robbery had happened. Then how did he know it? Kelly was walking alone in the forest. She found a picturesque spot and began to record a dance for her TikTok, but suddenly she fell into a cave. Kelly looked around and noticed 4 doors. There were hungry lions behind the first door. Venomous insects were hiding behind the second door. Behind the third door, there was a tunnel that was on fire. And there were live wires behind the fourth door. Which way is safe? The fourth door is the safest. There's enough space for Kelly to crawl under the wires. Can you find a panda among these people? It's over there. Miss Green recently got the job of a college teacher. She decided to start her first class with a small test. The woman watched her students during the test very attentively and noticed that 3 of them were cheating. Who? Look at this guy's knee. And this young lady is holding a book under her desk. And this young man over here has a bottle with the answers written on it. Can you find the odd emoji? Something is wrong with this guy's teeth. Harry woke up in a creepy abandoned hospital. He searched the area and only found an old cart. He went further and saw 4 doors, but there were dangers lurking behind each of these doors. Angry werewolves were waiting behind the first one. The floor behind the second door was all covered with toxic acid. There was a wicked witch behind the third door, and there was a fire blazing behind the fourth door. What should Harry do? Harry should choose the second door and use the cart to get to safety. Can you find the odd fish? Here it is. Gemma decided to follow her dreams and move to a cute house in a small village. She found several boxes in the basement and organized a garage sale to sell that stuff. Gemma put up an ad, everything for $1. Leah bought an old chess set, Peter purchased a mirror, and Daniel bought an old jewelry box. When they left, Gemma's neighbor came over and told her that she'd made a mistake. She had just sold a very expensive thing for a song. What item did she mean? Not the chess set because it's made of plastic, and not the mirror because it's cracked. She meant the jewelry box. Look at how Daniel is carrying it. The thing's heavy and probably filled with expensive stuff. Can you find the odd emoji? Here it is. Peter and Wendy had a picnic in a beautiful park. Suddenly, it started raining and they hid in their car. That's when Wendy noticed she had left her phone outside. Peter returned to the picnic spot but found no phone. Luckily, the thief couldn't get far. So, Peter entered the nearest cafe to check the customers. He saw 3 people inside. The guy immediately figured out who had taken the phone. Can you guess who the thief is? It's the second guy. He's the only one with wet hair and clothes. On his birthday, Jason invited 3 friends on a hiking trip. They found a beautiful wild beach and decided to stay there for the night. In an hour, one of Jason's friends disappeared. They separated to search for him, and the other 2 friends also vanished. Can you guess what happened? Jason's friends decided to prank him. They're waiting for him with a birthday cake on a boat. Mary had just returned from a 2-day business trip. She's starving, so she rushes to the kitchen. She opens the fridge to get some snacks. Can you help Mary throw away spoiled food? This apple has gone bad. Some weird loud sounds woke Emily in the middle of the night. She ran to her roommates' bedrooms to check on them. Both Mia and Sam were sound asleep. In the morning, Emily found out that their house had been robbed. Mia said that she'd been sleeping and hadn't heard anything suspicious. Sam said that he had returned from a party very late and had fallen asleep immediately. Can you guess what happened? The robber entered the house through Sam's window and pretended to be Sam when Emily came to check on her roommate. And the real Sam returned from the party way later that night. Can you figure out who this dog belongs to? The dog's owner is the woman in the middle. She's the only one who's not trying to pet the dog. What is the sum of these numbers? Four plus 17 plus 13 equals 34. George was returning home after a long day at work. He was walking through the park when somebody pushed him. He woke up in a well. The walls were too slippery to climb out of it, and he couldn't reach the bucket. Luckily, the guy found the solution. Can you guess how George escaped? He took off his shoes and threw them back into the bucket. The added weight brought the bucket down, and George used it to climb out of the well and escape. An old king doesn't have an heir, but he still has to choose a successor to take care of the country. So he gathered all young men and women in his kingdom and gave each of them a seed. "The person who will grow the largest plant will inherit the throne," he said. 3 months later, all the participants came back to the palace to show their plants. After the king looked at them, he chose a young lady with an empty pot. Why did he pick her? The king gave the participants fake seeds. The woman was the only honest person who didn't try to cheat. There are 3 sticks. Can you make 4 out of them without breaking any stick? Here you go. A man was doing some repairs and accidentally fell from the roof of a 12-story building. He was not wearing a parachute, but he still survived the fall. How? He landed on a balcony on the 11th floor. Mr. Tyler is a college professor. He teaches history, and his students like his classes very much. But one day, they decided to surprise Mr. Tyler and put on mummy costumes before his class. When Mr. Tyler saw them, he yells and runs away. Why? This guy over there is a real mummy. He's levitating and there's flies around him.
2 famous film producers are having breakfast in an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the budget for a sequel to a very successful movie that got $500 million at the box office. They're talking very quietly since they mention important details of the script. They suspect that someone might overhear them. The producers are right. Some curious people are indeed eavesdropping on their conversation. Find them. There's a guy at the next table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he isn't reading it. That girl over there is a journalist. There's a camera lens sticking out of her backpack. See? And that man is eating a salad, but you can notice a microphone hidden in his long hair. 3 people are standing in line in front of an ice cream truck. The first guy is taking a cone from the vendor. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through binoculars. Which one of them is a police officer? Look at the first guy. He's got a police radio in his pocket. A biker was traveling along a country road when he heard a scream. A woman was calling for help. She seemed to be in the forest. The biker rode in her direction and saw 3 girls among the trees. They were all begging him to save them from a vampire. "But which of you is the vampire?" the man asked. "It's her!" All the girls screamed and pointed at one another. How could the biker find out who was human? There are 2 side mirrors on the motorcycle. The biker needed to turn the handlebars and check which girl reflected in them. Mary opens her eyes and realizes that she's somewhere unknown. The last thing she remembers is walking in the park and then darkness. There's a lot of garbage in the room. A red lamp is flashing on the ceiling. Mary can leave through the door. It's open. But wait, she needs to take some useful stuff from the room. She can only choose 2 items. Which ones? Mary needs to get scuba gear and a mask. Look at that small window. Fish are swimming by. Mary is underwater. There are 4 inmates in this prison cell, and they all look pretty hardened to me. Well, all but one. There's a newbie here. Can you guess who it is? You might have thought on the desperate guy, but look, there are 5 dashes on the wall next to him. He's been in prison for some time already. The new guy is opposite him, with no dashes at all. Alex returns to his top-floor apartment after a workout at the gym. When he's having lunch, water utility workers come and knock on his door. They say the ceiling in Alex's apartment is about to collapse because his neighbors forgot to turn off a faucet. And now, they're flooding the building. They ask the guy to evacuate immediately. Alex closes the door and calls the police. Why? He lives on the top floor. No one can flood him. Annie just got a new motorbike she's been dreaming about for years. In the morning, she polished it for her evening bike ride, closed the garage, and went to work. In the evening, she opened the garage and found that her motorbike was gone. She questioned 3 neighbors. Adrian said, "When I went grocery shopping at noon, the motorbike was still in your garage." Angela said that she'd left before sunrise and had just returned home. Kate said that she hadn't paid any attention to Annie's house. She'd been worried about her job interview. Who stole the bike? Adrian. He said that he'd seen the bike in the garage, but it couldn't be true because it had been closed. There was a grand ball organized in honor of Miss Parsons' birthday, and half of the town was invited. Suddenly, the lights in the entire building went off for a couple of minutes. When the lights came back on, Miss Parsons' beautiful diamond earrings were missing. The main suspect was her distant cousin, Sylvia. But the girl said that she'd been in the bathroom fixing her makeup. She didn't even notice the lights had gone out because she'd been busy. Who's lying, Miss Parson or Sylvia? The lights went out in the entire building. If Sylvia had been fixing her makeup, she would have definitely noticed that something was wrong. Adele found her friend Oliver on the floor in his studio in the attic. She called the police. The officer who came asked the girl to tell him what had happened. Adele said that she'd been walking past Oliver's house and noticed that the lights were on. She came up to the window, peeked inside, and saw him on the floor. She called the police and ran into the house. The officer didn't believe her. Do you? No, it doesn't sound right. The guy was in the attic. Adele couldn't possibly see him through the window. One rainy evening, Martha came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar.
Oh, no.
She asked her siblings who had done that. Laura said that she'd been working out in her room and she didn't even eat sweets. Ashley said that she would never eat someone else's chocolate. Luna said that she'd been outside watering plants in the garden. She had just come home herself. Who lied? I'd say it was Luna. It was raining outside, so she didn't really need to water the plants. Colette always wanted to get a cat, but her mom wouldn't allow her. Once, the girl found a kitten in the street and brought it home. She decided to hide the animal from her mom. Still, one morning, Colette's mom walked into her daughter's room and realized a cat lived there.
how did she figure it out? Colette was wearing shorts and she had scratches on her legs. Jenny was locked in her room with 15 other people. Each of them could see the entire room with all the people inside without turning their head or body or moving in any other way. To get out of the room, Jenny had to place an apple in such a way that everyone but one person could see it. The girl managed to do it, but how? She put the apple on top of one person's head. An old sailor hauled a treasure chest from the seabed. As soon as he took one gold coin from there, a pirate appeared in front of him.
"How dare you touch my treasures?" the pirate said. "You're doomed to spend half of your life at sea and the other half on land."
The sailor is old and he doesn't know how much time he has left to live. How can he spend half of his remaining life in the water? He can do it if he spends one day at sea and another day on land. A teacher informed his students that there was just one question they had to answer to pass the exam. He took a shiny billiard ball out of his briefcase and put it on the desk.
"Prove this ball doesn't exist,"
the teacher said. By the end of the exam, all students wrote their answers, yet none of them passed, but one. That only student who wrote 2 words on their sheet of paper and got the passing grade. What did they write? What ball? You're walking through a dark forest and notice a door. It's just standing there by itself. You open it, take a step, and find yourself in a wonderful pink world. There are pink rivers and pink trees there. You see a 1-story pink house and go inside. All the furniture is pink. A meowing pink cat is walking around. You walk down the corridor to the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. What color is this staircase? There are no stairs in the house. It's a 1-story building, remember?
Kevin and Jill moved in together several months ago. Can you guess how many months ago did they start living together by looking at this picture? There's a cleaning schedule hanging on the fridge. It has colored stickers with their names. They've been keeping this schedule for 5 months already. Therefore, they moved in together 5 months ago. New Year was coming, and Kevin invited Jill to spend the holidays in his parents' house. When they arrived, Kevin introduced Jill to his father and 2 brothers. Suddenly, Kevin's mother entered the house with her 2 best friends. They just came back home from the mall. Can you help Jill decide which of these 3 women is Kevin's mother? The 3rd one. The mole on her face is identical to Kevin's. Also, she's the only natural blonde among these women. Although the other 2 ladies also have blonde hair, their roots are dark. Kevin gave Jill a tour around the house. He offered her to play a game and guess on the 2nd floor. She was supposed to guess which of the 3 bedrooms was Kevin's room where he lived with his parents. Have you guessed? The 2nd room. Kevin's name was written on the wall. Although the graffiti was covered with paint, it could still be seen through. Besides, the interior of Kevin's current apartment also has some graffiti elements because he still pursues his hobby. Before the dinner, Kevin's brothers decided to prank Kevin and Jill and serve some snacks. There are 3 bowls with snacks, but only one of them contains edible snacks. Can you help Kevin and Jill choose the right bowl? The first bowl has spiders in it. The second bowl doesn't only contain chips, but also Lego parts. And there's a couple of dirty socks inside the third bowl. Therefore, the safest option is bowl number 2. They just need to be careful not to eat Lego parts. During the dinner, Kevin's mother has been asking Jill embarrassing questions. Jill told her 4 facts about herself. She graduated from college with honors. She doesn't have any tattoos. Jill and Kevin met each other online. Her favorite color is blue. But only 3 facts are true. Which one is false? Jill does have a tattoo. Take a look at her ankle. Next morning, the entire family gathered in the living room to have breakfast and unpack Christmas gifts. Can you guess what gift is from Kevin's mother to Jill? This blue box. It's the only gift wrapped in a different color than others. Kevin's mother probably learned that Jill would come over after having wrapped all the gifts for her family. Besides, Jill mentioned that she loved blue color. Kevin and Jill went hiking nearby Kevin's hometown. It started to snow, and they decided to spend a romantic night in the woods. They rented a lovely cabin. Next morning, Jill got out of the bed and saw that their backpacks had disappeared.
Hey!
Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who stole their stuff? Kevin's brothers decided to prank them. There are traces of 2 people on the snow, and one of the brothers dropped one of his purple gloves. Kevin's brothers jumped out of a barn where they hid. They decided to go for a walk and found a secret base in the mountains. It was well guarded, but Kevin's brother Mike found an open door. The door slammed shut just as Mike got inside. He saw 3 pots in front of him. There was a fire in the first one. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third pot. Suddenly, a mysterious voice said, "You can get a key from one of the pots to break free, but you can't move the pots." How did Mike escape? He pulled icicles from the ceiling and threw them into the first pot. The icicles melted and put the fire out. The guys continued their journey. Soon after, they decided to stop and have a quick snack. Kevin's second brother, Andy, spotted a cave. As soon as he entered the cave, the way out disappeared. Now he must choose between 3 doors. There are poisonous scorpions behind the first door. There's a sleeping potion behind the second door, and he would have to drink. Finally, there's a hungry tiger behind the third door. What should Andy do to escape? He should grab the sleeping potion, pour it over his sandwich, and throw the food at the hungry tiger. When the tiger falls asleep, he'll be able to escape through the third door. Jill, Kevin, Andy, and Mike headed home when they noticed cougars moving toward them. The guys started running away and saw a tunnel. It was very dark and scary. They only have 12 minutes to cross it. It takes Mike 1 minute to cross the tunnel, Andy 2 minutes, Jill 4 minutes, and Kevin 5 minutes. The guys decided to split into 2 pairs, but they only have 1 flashlight, and there's no way they go in there in 4. How can they escape? Andy and Mike should walk through the tunnel with the flashlight in 2 minutes. Then Mike returns. They still have 9 minutes. Kevin and Jill run through the tunnel with the flashlight and give it to Andy. It will take another 5 minutes. Then Andy should run to Mike, and they will escape together with the remaining 2 minutes. Kevin and Jill returned home, but the adventure continued. Someone robbed their apartment yesterday. They called the police and questioned the neighbors. Dan said that he had spent all holidays at work and didn't come home at all. Vicky was wearing headphones because she was making music, so she couldn't hear any suspicious sounds. And Emily spent the holidays at her sister's place because construction workers had to finish renovations in her apartment. Who is lying? Emily. If they finished renovations, why is her apartment a giant mess? 2 years later, Kevin and Jill decided to get married. On the wedding day, Kevin noticed that Jill had forgotten her wedding necklace in his bag. He went to her dressing room to get the jewelry, but when he got there, he saw 3 identical Jills wearing identical dresses. Jill's father is a scientist. He decided to test Kevin's feelings before the wedding and made 2 clones of his daughter. Help Kevin find his real bride. It's the third one. She has a tattoo on her ankle, remember? And her clones don't, because tattoos don't impact genetics. Jill went downstairs to say hi to her bridesmaids, but when she saw them, Jill began to yell at her dad because he pranked her with his mad scientific tricks once again. One of the bridesmaids was a cyborg. Can you guess who it was? This elegant lady over here. What is she doing with her head? Kevin's mother was responsible for the wedding banquet, but when she entered the kitchen and saw the food served by the catering company, she got very upset. She called the company's office and started to yell at the manager, telling them to fix the disaster immediately. Can you guess what made her so upset? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 green goblins instead of the bride and the groom. Kevin and Jill went to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. The hotel looked rather creepy, but they decided to stay there anyway. The hotel employee asked the newlyweds to choose a room from the remaining options. Can you help Kevin and Jill pick a good room? There were weird stains on linen in the first room. There's a spider web on the chandelier in the second room, and the third one looks pretty good. Jill decided to chill in the swimming pool. On her way to the dressing room, she noticed a TV in the hall and heard some breaking news. Someone spotted a zombie in town. The creature probably went downtown, and it could be anywhere. Zombies are not very good at swimming and move very slowly. Jill entered the dressing room and met 3 people. Can you tell who the zombie is? There's a bandage on this woman's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had cuts or stretches unless they're a zombie. In the hotel room, Kevin found a secret door leading to a tunnel. He walked through the tunnel and found storage full of diamonds. Suddenly, prison bars appeared around Kevin out of nowhere, and a mysterious voice said, "You can take all the diamonds and leave safely if you manage to choose the right potion to escape." There were 3 options. The first potion will make Kevin invisible. The second potion will turn him into a bird. And the third potion will make him super tall. In 5 minutes, Kevin returned to Jill with a huge bag of diamonds. Which potion did he choose? The second one. He turned into a small bird that flew through the bars. The next morning, Jill woke up stuck on a small, flat, deserted island. It raised up 40 feet, and all around the base are jagged rocks and shark-infested waters. The island was covered in a dry, flammable vegetation. Suddenly, lightning struck the easternmost point of the island, and a huge fire started. The wind made the fire burn in a perfectly straight line across the island, with no gaps in the fire line. The fire was burning quite intensely, and she couldn't vault it or put it out. Jill cannot jump or traverse the rocks, and the wind won't change direction. How can she survive? Jill can start a fire herself, which will burn behind her. By the time the main fire gets there, she will be surrounded by an already burned area, and the main fire will not harm her. Also, since there was lightning, it probably rained soon after. The rain could put out the fire, and Jill would survive. Wow, what a crazy honeymoon. I think I'd just stay home.
Sheila participates in a beauty pageant. The next catwalk will take place in 30 minutes. Sheila leaves her stuff in the dressing room and goes outside to talk on the phone. After that, she returns and sees that someone has torn her costume. Sheila gets furious and questions her rivals. Millie says, "I was getting my makeup done, so I sat in my chair motionless, and I couldn't look around." Chelsea says, "I was in a toilet. I think I ate something wrong for lunch." And Isabella says, "I was outside the dressing room filming stories for my subscribers." Who is lying? Millie. She said she got her makeup done, but why did she ruin it by putting on a face mask? Sheila goes to the storage room to find a new dress. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind her.
Oh no!
She needs to enter an 8-letter password to open the door. Sheila needs to be on the stage in 5 minutes. Can you help her crack the code? This picture on the wall is a hint. Sheila needs to enter paradise. Sheila opens the door and meets face to face with creepy rats. She runs away and gets lost in the basement. Sheila finds these 3 doors leading to the stage, but each door is hiding some danger. There are broken wires and a puddle of water on the floor behind the first door. There's a scorpion behind the second door waiting to bite Sheila. And there's a magical portal leading to the top of a mountain behind the third door. Can you help Sheila make the right choice? She should choose the first door. There's enough space. Sheila can crawl underneath the wires. Sheila enters the stage and spots 3 weird details in the auditorium. Can you see them too? Take a closer look at this lady. She's holding a book upside down. This musician is playing the violin without any strings. Also, there's a panda among the viewers. Sheila becomes a beauty queen. She gets a diamond tiara and a paycheck. She goes backstage, but suddenly, all lights in the building go out for a few seconds. When the lights turn on again, Sheila sees that someone has stolen her tiara. She questions 3 rivals. Zoe says, "I don't want your cheap tiara. My dad is a billionaire." Jasmine says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and scratched my dress." Rachel says, "You must have dropped it on the floor. Look better." Who stole the tiara? Zoe. It's hidden under her diamond necklace. The next day, Sheila wakes up in a creepy castle. A wicked witch turned her into a monkey. To break the black magic, Sheila needs to use a spell. But the spell book is locked in a box. The lock requires a 6-digit code. Can you help her open the box? There are exactly 6 candles on the shelf above the box. It's a hint. Each candle has a particular number of dots, so the code is 24361. There are 4 big houses in Sheila's neighborhood. All 4 are standing in one row, and they have different colors: red, green, white, and blue. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the green house. The third house in the row is white. Mrs. Snake owns a red house, and Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end of the row, but she lives somewhere to the right of the blue house. Meanwhile, Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. And the first house isn't red. Can you decide who lives where and what the color of each person's house is? From the clues, we know that the first and the third houses can't be red. Mrs. Dillon lives in the fourth house. Therefore, Mrs. Snake, who owns the red house, can only live in the second. Since Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end, she must live in the third house, which is white. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the greenhouse, which means that Mrs. Dillon lives in the fourth house. As for Mrs. Jones, she lives in the first house, and it's blue. Can you spot a fake teacher? The guy on the left isn't a real teacher, he's an actor. Take a closer look. There's a rec camera icon at the top of the screen. Two friends want to cross a river. The only way to get to the other side is by boat. But this boat can only take one person at a time. The boat cannot return on its own, and there are no ropes or any other similar tricks. Yet both guys managed to cross the river using the boat. How is that possible? The guys started on the opposite banks of the river. Josh and Bob are twins. Josh lives with his wife, and Bob lives alone. Can you guess which one is Josh? It's the first guy. He has a pair of toothbrushes in his bathroom, while Bob only has one. A time traveler is attending this party. Can you spot this person? This lady's shoes look too old-fashioned. Chuck enters a spooky building where he's supposed to have a job interview. Suddenly, someone locks the door, and now Chuck is trapped. He wanders around for a while and sees these 4 doors. He also finds a note. Only door 3 is leading to the job interview. The remaining doors will take you to the black hole. Good luck. Can you help Chuck choose the right door? No need for luck, Chuck. The symbols on the door are actually numbers. So, Chuck should enter this door. I talk to you, you talk to me. Every day, you hold me. Yet, I can't smell you. What am I? I'm your mobile phone. A gentleman and a lady are talking. The person with black hair says, I'm a gentleman. The person with blonde hair says, I'm a lady. At least one of them lied. Can you guess the hair color of each person? If only one of them lied, they would both be gentlemen or both be ladies. Therefore, they both lied. It means that the lady has black hair and the gentleman is blonde. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There's no milk in the jug. Can you see anything odd in this picture? The image in the mirror is not reflected. Can you spot a vampire? This guy over here. Fiona is a young witch. She finds these 4 portals in a haunted castle. Fiona chooses one of the portals and enters. You can hear city noises from the first portal. You can hear sea waves from the second portal. You can hear leaves rustling from the third portal. And bells are ringing from the fourth. Which portal did Fiona enter? Fiona's dirty footprints on the floor are leading to the third portal. Don't mind the different sounds, this could just be a magic trick. Billy finds himself on the roof of a skyscraper that is about to crumble. The only way out is to use one of these 4 elevators. There's a werewolf hiding behind the first elevator. If Billy chooses the second elevator, he'll fall hundreds of feet. Super venomous snakes are crawling all over the third elevator. And mutated scorpions are waiting for Billy inside the fourth elevator. Just one bite will make him fall asleep forever. Which way should Billy choose? The first one. Take a look at the sky. The moon is not full, so the werewolf is harmless. Rachel meets 3 of her former school friends in the parking lot. All 3 want to impress Rachel, so they begin to discuss their new cars. Melanie says, "I wanted my car to be one of a kind, so I bought this one." Peter says, "Since I'm a beginner, I purchased the cheapest used car." And finally, Samantha says, "I bought a large car because I have a big family." Rachel spots a liar right away. What about you? It's Samantha. Her car key doesn't match the logo on the car. Larry is a college professor. He gives his worst student, Mike, a task to write an essay within a week. 7 days later, Mike sends Larry a message begging him to postpone the deadline for 3 days. Larry agrees. 3 days later, Larry claims the essay, but now Mike asks for a 5-day delay. Larry is very kind, so this time he agrees too. 5 days later, Mike shows Larry a burning candle and says, "Sir, can you please postpone the deadline till this candle wick burns out?" Larry laughs and agrees. Mike laughs too, because now he can forget about submitting the essay. Why? Mike blew out the candle. He said, "Till this candle wick burns out," not "till this flame burns out." So now, Mike can keep his candle unburned forever and never submit his essay. Larry brings 3 boxes of cupcakes to the college kitchen. He leaves them on the table to celebrate his birthday with coworkers after classes. All boxes have different sizes, but each contains 3 cupcakes. Meanwhile, Mike enters the kitchen. He opens one box and eats 3 cupcakes. After classes, Larry finds out that every box in the kitchen still has 3 cupcakes. How is that possible? Mike ate cupcakes from the largest box, and then he put a smaller box into the empty box. So when Larry opened the remaining 2 boxes, each of them still had 3 cupcakes. After classes, Mike invites Wendy on a date. Since they're both broke, they decided to take a bus ride and then walk back. The bus speed is 9 miles per hour, and the guy's walking speed is 3 miles per hour. What's the maximum distance they could ride on the bus if they must come back in 8 hours? Mike and Wendy can move on a bus 3 times as fast as they can walk. Therefore, they should spend 3/4 of their time walking and only 1/4 on a bus ride. So to fit into the 8-hour limit, they should ride for 2 hours, going 18 miles, and then walk back in 6 hours. Mike and Wendy are walking down the street and notice one very curious thing. It has 3 eyes and all are in a straight line. When its red eye opens, everything freezes. Can you guess what they see? A stoplight. Mike returns to the student dormitory to find out his entire food supply is gone. He questioned 3 people. Can you guess who ate his food?
The guy on the right. He has crumbs on his mustache. Mike goes to the library to study archival newspapers. This newspaper is supposed to have 60 pages, but pages 24 and 41 are missing. Can you guess which other pages won't be there too? Pages 19, 20, 23, 37, 38, and 42 will also be missing. Mike finds a note inside the newspaper. There's a secret maze in the library leading to amazing treasures. The note shows this map. Can you help Mike walk this path correctly? Here's the right way. Mike walks through the maze and finds this bookcase. One of the shelves is fake. Can you spot which one? This shelf is fake. Books on the other shelves are covered with dust and cobwebs, but these books are clean and the cobwebs around them are torn. Mike finds a secret room behind the fake bookshelf. He enters the room and finds a big safe and this weird note nearby. The safe is locked, and Mike needs to enter a 9-letter password to open it. Can you help him crack the code? The correct password is Moonlight, and here's why. Take a look at the hint note. All Mike needs to do is to use the corresponding number letter of each word. The first letter in the maze is M. The third letter in looks is O. And the second letter in roses is also O. And so on. Mike opens the safe and finds 3 identical gemstones and a note. Suddenly, the door to the secret room slams shut and the walls begin to shrink. Mike reads the note. Only one of these diamonds is real. Find it and put it into the lock. You only have 15 seconds. Good luck. Oh no. Can you help Mike spot the fake diamonds? Mike should drop all 3 stones into this glass of water on the table. If the diamond is real, it will drop to the bottom of the glass thanks to its high density. And if it's a fake, it will float on the surface. Mike succeeds and unlocks the door, leading to a secret hallway. He walks through the hallway and sees 4 doors and a beautiful statue in the middle of the space. The statue sings, "We came out at night without being called. We disappeared by morning without being stolen. Who are we?" Can you guess which door Mike should enter? The song has a hint for Mike. The statue is singing about stars. Therefore, Mike should choose the door decorated with stars. Mike enters the next room and meets a queen. She says, "Hello, stranger. I have a task for you. If you succeed, I'm going to reward you with wealth and fame. But if you fail, you'll stay here forever as my prisoner. I want to renovate my kingdom so that all my 10 castles are connected through 5 straight walls. And each wall must connect 4 castles together. Also, at least one of the castles should be protected with walls." Then, the queen shows him this picture and continues, "My royal architect failed to give any solution that meets all my wishes, but he suggested this plan. Do you have a better idea?" Mike should offer this solution to please the queen. Now 2 castles are protected with walls. The queen kept her word and made Mike very rich. Also, she threw a feast in his honor. Unfortunately, not all royal servants are glad to see their queen with a new favorite. Take a look at these 3 people. Can you spot Mike's hater? Although this friendly-looking lord gives Mike a bag of gold coins, there's a snake hiding inside his gift. Mike is observing the royal garden.
he sees 3 lemon trees. Each of them has exactly 10 lemons. The gardener comes over and picks 4 oranges from each tree. Can you calculate the number of fruits left on the lemon trees? Oranges don't grow on lemon trees. The Queen tells Mike an amazing story. I'm fond of dragon racing. On Sunday, I rode to see a race in a cozy village outside of my kingdom. 5 days later, on Monday, I went home.
Can you explain this, considering that she doesn't have a time machine? Sunday is the name of her dragon. Mike likes the kingdom very much, but it's time to go home. The Queen gives him 3,000 gemstones the size of a watermelon. He rents a truck to carry them home. Mike's current location is 1,000 miles away from home. Unfortunately, the truck can only carry 1,000 gemstones at once. Also, there's a check post on every mile till home. Each post requires all drivers to pay with 1 gemstone while traveling towards Mike's hometown. But the road is free of charge while traveling towards the kingdom. Can you figure out a way to bring the highest possible number of gems to Mike's hometown? Mike should make 3 trips of 1,000 gemstones each till mile 333. After that, he will be left with 2,001 gemstones and have 667 more miles to go. At this point, he should take 2 trips of 1,000 gemstones, covering 500 miles more. This way, he will be left with 1,000 gemstones. After riding the remaining 167 miles, Mike will be left with 833 gems. And he'll still be rich and fabulous. 2 best friends, Emily and Luna, came to a popular and expensive hair salon. At first, the administrator told the girls they had just 1 available hairstylist. But after making a phone call, she happily announced she had found another hairdresser. Emily and Luna could have their hair done at the same time. But in the process, it dawned on the girls that one of the hairstylists was fake. Which one? Hairstylists are using regular scissors, but instead of hairspray, the one on the left is holding a can of bug spray. Yeah, that's a big clue right there. Mary and her younger brother Alex were mushroom hunting in the forest. They started to quarrel. So Alex got angry and ran away. After several minutes, Mary rushed after him. She was still fuming but also worried. Soon, the girl reached a small river. A man was sitting on the shore. "Did you see a teenager here?" Mary asked. "Yep, he's just taken a boat and made it to the other side." But Mary didn't believe the man. Why? The boat is indeed on the other side, but the paddles are lying next to the man. How could the boy cross the river without them? 3 prisoners are sitting at a table having dinner, but one of them is wealthy. Can you guess who it is? It's not the guy with the steak and shrimps. The little tag on his shirt reveals he's a chef, and he likes to prepare a special treat for himself. The guy with the jewels shows that he's well off, but in prison, jewelry is basically worthless. It's the third guy. Wealthy people try to keep a low profile in prison, not to be targeted by others. That's why he doesn't flash any valuable possessions or his status. It's Friday and all the students have gathered in a big lecture hall to take the end of term exam. The teacher has been informed that one student is going to cheat. Can you tell which one? Pay attention to every detail. It's student C. It looks as if he's trying to remember what he's read, but he has all the answers written on his hand. Marta was walking through the park near her home in the evening. It was dark and there was nobody around. Suddenly, someone grabbed her from behind and they bolted away.
Marta took off after them. She was pretty sure this person was a woman, but she couldn't make out her appearance or clothes. When Marta ran inside, she saw 3 teachers. The girl looked at them attentively and soon figured out which one of them had taken her bag. Can you do the same? The woman in the middle wouldn't be able to run away with a cast on her leg. The one on the right doesn't have anything in her hands. Where would she hide Marta's bag so quickly? But the woman on the left has a big shopper bag on her shoulder. A real teacher wouldn't need to carry it in the classroom, so she was definitely the one who took the bag. Jonathan sneaked out of the house late in the evening to meet his girlfriend. The teenager thought he was extremely careful and quiet, but his whole family knew about his plan. They were aware the guy would return at midnight, so they decided to make a bet. The one who would see Nathan first when the guy started climbing the fence would be the winner. The prize would be no chores for them for 1 week. So as to not fall asleep, Nathan's dad switched on the TV. The teen's grandfather settled in the living room to read a book. The grandmother went to the kitchen to make a pizza, and Nathan's mom went to her room, sat down on the floor, and started to meditate. Who's going to be the first to spot Nathan when the time comes? Nathan's mom. Her eyes will be used to the darkness, and she will see better than the others. Look at this picture closely and try to figure out who's from the future. Well, I'm pretty sure there was no flashlights in the Stone Age, so it has to be this guy here. Down in the Sea Kingdom, Stacy met Neptune. He was sitting on his throne, surrounded by 3 mermaids. Neptune asked Stacy to return the pearl necklace to his wife, who had recently lost it. Luke happened to have found the necklace on the shore. Can you guess which mermaid is Neptune's wife, so Luke can give it back to her? It's the third one. She's the only one who's wearing an engagement ring. Lisa was a famous top model. She was found unconscious in her dressing room during a photo shoot and taken to a hospital. Doctors said she had a severe allergic reaction, but when Lisa came to her senses, she insisted she hadn't eaten anything all day. The model's manager was very concerned and interrogated everyone who'd been around. Lisa's stylist said that she had applied Lisa's makeup and indeed hadn't seen her eat anything. The cleaning lady said she had cleaned the dressing room with organic, non-allergenic products. Lisa's main rival, Nora, said that she'd been watching the shooting all day long. She hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Who's the culprit? It was the stylist. Lipstick was the only thing Lisa could have swallowed that day. In the middle of the night, Dennis woke up because of a loud crash. One of the kids must have been out, but they know they aren't allowed to leave at night. The man went to check on the children. All 3 of them, Catherine, Ruth, and Larry, seemed to be sleeping peacefully. Look at the kids and try to figure out who sneaked out of the house. It was Ruth. There's a dirty sneaker hidden behind the curtain and several pieces of French fries under her bed. Brenda was traveling by train. It was scorching hot in the carriage. The girl took off her gold bracelet decorated with diamonds and put it on the table in front of her. Several minutes later, the train entered a tunnel, and it got pitch dark. When the tunnel was left behind, there was no bracelet on the table. Brenda was shocked. "Someone's taken my bracelet!" There were just 3 other people in the compartment. Helen said she'd been sleeping. Rachel was reading a book on her phone, and Gregory had gone to the bathroom even before the train entered the tunnel. Who took the bracelet? It was Helen. At first, she had her sleeves rolled up, but now they're covering her arms down to the wrists, hiding the bracelet. Sarah bought some ice cream on Saturday, but kept the flavors in secret. When she woke up on Sunday, all the ice cream was gone. She asked everyone in the house if they knew anything about it. James answered he had gone to work early that morning and hadn't seen anything. Mary said she wanted to have the new caramel ice cream in the afternoon. She felt bad she was going to miss it.
John didn't even know there was ice cream in the house, but he was looking forward to trying it. Can you figure out who knows something? It's Mary. The ice cream flavors were a secret. She couldn't be sure there was a caramel taste among them. Can you tell who's a real mermaid here? The second one is a guy, so he definitely isn't a mermaid. The girl on the right is chilling in the sun, and she's out of the water. Mermaids wouldn't do that because they dry out in the sun. So the real mermaid must be the one on the left. There were some thefts at the supermarket. There were 3 cases in total, in January, April, and June. The security camera recorded these videos. The security officer tried to have a closer look and suddenly noticed one detail. After that, the identity of the thief became clear. What did he notice? It was the pregnant woman. The attentive security officer noticed that in January, she looked about 6 to 7 months pregnant. In June, she looked the same. Seems like it's the mysterious case of the baby bump that was really a canned ham. One day, a thief decided to rob the local bank. He came up with a brilliant plan to dress up as one of the bank tellers and try to sneak into the vault. As he was approaching the vault, he saw a security guard standing right in front of the door. The robber hadn't anticipated this, so he hid and watched the guard carefully when one of the actual bank tellers walked up to the door. The security guard said 12. The worker answered 6 and got in. Then another teller came up to the vault. When the security guard said 6, the person answered 3 and was granted access. The thief nonchalantly walked up to the security guard when the guard said 10. The robber confidently answered 5. He was arrested immediately. So why was the thief's answer wrong, and what could he have answered instead? The response has to do with the number of letters in the word. 12 has 6 letters, so the answer is 6. 6 in turn has 3 letters, so the answer is 3. Well, you can see by now that the robber should have said 3. Looks like he wasn't as brilliant as he thought.
James is a famous vlogger. He arrives at an abandoned haunted castle to film a video. James hasn't even entered the house yet, but he has already spotted 5 weird things about this place and freaked out. Can you see them too? These footprints on the ground are too giant. It's winter, but this cherry tree is blooming. It should be the moon in the sky, not Saturn. Also, this black cat has 4 paws, but leaves footprints from only 3. James walks around the castle and gets lost in the garden maze. But in a while, he arrives at the front doors. Can you guess which way brought James here? Here's the only way to cross the maze. Unfortunately, the doors are locked. James needs to enter a 4-digit code. Can you find any clues? Take a closer look at the door. There are 4 stars painted on it. The first one has 5 rays, the second has 4 rays, the third one, 9, and finally, the fourth one has 7 rays. Therefore, the correct code is 5497. James enters the castle. It's very dark. Suddenly, someone grabs his camera and runs away to the library. James follows the thief. In the library, he faces a werewolf, a vampire, and a lady ghost. James questions them all. The werewolf says, "I only come here for magic books to find a way to become human again. I'm not involved in the robbery." The lady ghost says, "Someone spilled cherry juice on my favorite dress. I spent an hour in the bathroom trying to clean it. I didn't see anything suspicious." And the vampire says, "It's early evening now. I got up just a minute ago. Why would I need your camera anyway?" Who is lying? You cannot spill juice on a ghost. Therefore, she's lying. James enters another creepy room full of mirrors, but only one of them is fake. Can you help James find his real reflection? Only the second mirror shows the truth. James enters the toilet room, but all cabins are occupied. Can you spot a zombie among the visitors? The zombie is behind the left door. See the hands? They are greenish. Suddenly, James finds an invitation card for a party. The castle owner, Luna, is having a birthday. James enters the main hall and sees 7 pretty witches sitting by the table. All look very similar, but each witch is wearing an outfit of a different color. It's very hard to tell who's the birthday lady, but after a couple of seconds, James approaches one of the witches, shakes her hand, and says, "Thank you for inviting me over, Luna." How did he guess? Take a look at these gifts. Each witch brought a box wrapped in the color of her outfit, but the green box is absent because Luna is wearing the green dress. Luna leads James to a company of 4 ghosts and says, "Welcome, stranger, meet my granny." Can you help James find out Luna's actual grandmother? It's the third ghost. She's wearing the same brooch as Luna. One of the witches, Zelda, likes James and wants to impress him. She shows him some pictures of her fabulous vacation, but James spots fake right away. How? Take a look at the angle of the shadows in this picture. It's obvious that Zelda has photoshopped herself over this fancy beach view. In the middle of the party, Luna gets a message from her boyfriend, Carl. He lives alone only 20 minutes away from the castle. Here's what he sends. "Sorry for being late, honey. I'm still working." Luna yells, "Liar!" and blocks him. Why? It's because of his selfie. There's a lipstick mark on the glass in the kitchen. Luna breaks up with Carl and uses a magic spell to teleport 3 handsome wizards to her dinner. When they arrive, Luna asks them just one question. "Do you guys have a girlfriend?" Magnus replies, "Lady, I work around the clock. I'm too busy for romance." Tristan says, "Oh no, I've never had any serious relationships." Ambrose replies, "Nah, I'm too picky. I'm still searching for the one." 2 guys are lying. Can you guess who? Magnus. There's a romantic tattoo with a female name on his chest. And Tristan. He has a tan line around his ring finger. Therefore, he had been wearing a wedding ring. James goes to the kitchen to help Luna with coffee. He spots 3 odd things right away. Can you see them too? The candle flame painted on the canvas is moving. There's a zombie hiding on the shelf behind the jars. And also Luna puts salt in the coffee pot. Luna comes back to the hall and sees that someone had scratched her favorite oil painting on the wall. She interrogates 4 suspects among her guests. Magnus says, "Whoa, I haven't even noticed the painting." Sophia says, "Sorry, I was having a phone call." Zelda says, "No worries, honey. I can paint you a new one better than this." And Glinda says, "I was in the bathroom. I don't know who ruined the painting. Who is guilty?" Glinda. Her nail polish has the same color as the scratches on the painting. Luna takes James to the garden and turns him into stone. Can you find the enchanted James among these 3 statues? There shouldn't be any grass under a real statue. Meanwhile, James has only been a stone for a few minutes. Therefore, we need to choose the only statue with grass underneath. James asks Luna to let him go. She says, "Okay, but first, you should crack my riddle." The If I had 3 watermelons and 4 oranges in one hand and 4 watermelons and 3 oranges in the other hand, what would I have? Can you help James figure it out? To solve this riddle, we need to think literally. The correct answer is, she would have very large hands. James wakes up in a dusty basement. He wanders around and finds 3 doors, but each way is guarded by a creepy magical creature. A hungry vampire is hiding behind the first door, and a fire-breathing dragon is waiting behind the second door. And there's a giant mutant rat behind the third door. Can you help James choose the best option? James should choose the first door. Take a look at the window. It's already dawn, which means the vampire is sleeping. James gets out of the castle and walks home. Suddenly, he spots a suspicious guy with a huge bag nearby a luxurious mansion. James decides to question the guy. He says it was his house, and he carried his old stuff to give it away for charity. James calls the police right away. Why? Take a look at the window. The glass is broken, and the guy's coat is torn. Why would he need to leave his own house through the broken window? Therefore, he's probably a thief. Finally, James arrives home. He checks his emails and finds 3 letters from different witches. Linda offers him to study at her magic school. Zelda invites James to visit her villa in Antarctica. And Sophia invites him on a date. But only one of these emails isn't fake. Can you find it? Linda's email is just spam. She doesn't mention his name in the message, and it also contains a suspicious link. Zelda sends him a picture of her villa, but it's clearly not in Antarctica, so only Sophia's email is real. James agrees to go on a date. He arrives at the meeting point and faces not 1 Sophia, but 5. Unfortunately, a wicked wizard had cloned her. He tells James, "You only have 1 chance to choose the real Sophia. If you succeed, I'm gonna let her go." Can you help James? The first lady has gills, so she's probably fake. The second one's teeth are too sketchy. The fourth Sophia has 2 left hands, and the fifth one has lilac eyes, while the real Sophia's eyes